Good day, everybody. Me here. It is the 21st September, Sunday. It's early in the morning. It's before 6 a.m. from where I am. I don't know where you are in the world. Shout out to everybody out there. All praise be to the Most High God. I always start with this. The Most High God comes first. The stream is brought to you by L.I.V.E products. L.I.V.E, live now, we live now. We're going to get into it before I go to work. So, as you can see from the title, there's a narrative going around concerning Terrence Crawford. A couple of narratives. And I'm going to give a shout out to a number of different channels. I'll start off with TMZ Sports, which you're seeing in front of you. There was an interview with TMZ and Floyd Mayweather in which they asked him about the fight between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Then they asked him about his fight with Mike Tyson. And then they asked him if he may return to boxing for a pro fight. To the Canelo versus Terrence Crawford fight, Floyd said that, the guy said that, he knew that Terrence Crawford would win and he put down the money on it. And Floyd said, yep, I guess so. And then they asked him about if he's on the downswing and if he should retire. And Floyd was like, that's up to Canelo. Asked about the rematch. And he said that's up to Canelo and Terrence Crawford. They asked him if he would watch the rematch. And he said, yep. And they asked him about Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather, and Floyd said, well, listen, it's legend versus legend. So this is for the fans. This is for them to enjoy. It's an exhibition. He says, we're going to have fun. He said he's not training right now. He's running, but he's not training because the fight's in 2026, and they're working towards getting that fight pulled off, which is a big fight. I'm not going to lie. That's two tremendous names in the sport of boxing. That would be fun to watch. See, Mike is much bigger than Floyd. I'm never against exhibition, so that's a good thing. Then he asked him, is it possible that he might return to do a pro bout? And Floyd said, there have been some talks that came up. He said there's been some talks that came up, but, he doesn't know what the future holds, right? So, having said that, I thought it was interesting to see Floyd kind of pop up out there and get some shine because, anytime you mention Floyd's name, and Floyd's name is always mentioned quite a lot, it gives him the opportunity to do an interview or something and show up his face again. Oscar De La Hoya, when asked who's better, Mayweather or Terrence Crawford, his take on the whole situation was that Floyd's a better technical fighter than Terrence Bud Crawford. And he thought that Floyd was better. Now, of course, Oscar fought Floyd, so it's coming from Oscar because he fought Floyd. And, of course, he said, it's not because I fought Floyd. But, yes, it's because he fought Floyd. You're saying that. He goes on to talk about his little clapback Thursdays and all that stuff that he does, his little gigs. He also commented on the Alley Act and why, you can't go and try and reform the Alley Act for boxers. And for those of you who don't know, the Alley Act protects boxers and their managers in negotiating deals with boxing companies. So, that's a very important point. So having said that, I know there are different takes on things. We have detractors of Terrence Crawford saying, why doesn't he go up and fight David Benavidez? Right? There are people saying that, There are people trying to tear down Terrence Crawford saying, who's the last prime fighter that Terrence Crawford fought? I'm like, dude, he fought before Canelo. He fought Madrimov. Madrimov was a prime fighter, undefeated actually. When Terrence Crawford fought him, he was a world champion as well. Then you had Errol Spence Jr., who was in his prime. They'll use the excuse, oh no, he got in a car accident. Well, he performed after the car accident with Danny Garcia and with Udenis Ugas. So what are you talking about? And then, of course, he also fought Jeff Horn, was in his prime. He also fought, let's see, who else did he fight that was in his prime? There's Gamboa. There's, what's the guy's name? The Scottish guy. I forgot what his name is. I mean, he fought a lot of guys in their prime. Now, were they great fighters? A lot of them were good fighters. They weren't great fighters. Errol Spence was a great fighter because he was in the pound for pound list. Canelo is a great fighter. Of course, Canelo, like Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford was older than Canelo, by the way. Was a veteran of the sport and dominating. So was Canelo at the top of his game? Hell yes. Right? So he wasn't in his prime, but he was in. Anyway, the point I'm making is Robert Garcia says Crawford should not fight David Benavidez, even though a lot of Mexican fans are saying that David Benavidez should fight Terrence Crawford. Crawford, if he really wants to prove himself, because Canelo was washed out, he should fight a young Mexican fighter like David Benavidez. So Crawford said, I'm up fighting David Benavidez. To which David Benavidez said, no, I'm not interested in going back down to 168 to fight Terrence Crawford, even though Turki Al-Sheikh was saying, why don't you come down to 168 to fight Terrence Crawford? The thing about it is, what a lot of people forget is Terrence Crawford knocked out David Benavidez's older brother, Jose Benavidez. They're around about the same height and size. I think Jose Benavidez is 6 feet tall. David Benavidez is 6'2". Which leads me to the other point I would like to make somewhere around here, if I can find it. Yes, Mr. Sergio Mora. Shout out to JBZ, by the way. I do watch your channel. Sergio Mora and who is it? What's the guy's name? I forgot what his name is. Anyway, they're chatting. And they're talking about currently Terrence Crawford is the face of boxing. But, when Crawford leaves, who will be the new face of boxing? And then Sergio Mora goes on to say, well, Terrence Crawford is the face of boxing, but he is not the cash cow of boxing. He's not the face of boxing in terms of money. And then I heard also Jay Beasley chime in and say the same thing. He said, Terrence Crawford is not the face of boxing when it comes to money-wise. I'm going to say this right now because a lot of y'all I don't know why you open your mouths and speak without thinking. Think about what I'm saying here. Floyd Mayweather, when he beat Oscar De La Hoya was a cash cow of boxing, right? Floyd Mayweather, when he beat Oscar De La Hoya, became the cash cow of boxing. Floyd wasn't selling fights before Oscar De La Hoya like that. Terrence Crawford, when he faced Canelo Alvarez is the cash cow of boxing. Canelo Alvarez was the face of boxing. When he beat Canelo Alvarez, the way how he beat Canelo Alvarez, more convincingly than you could argue Floyd beat Oscar De La Hoya. What do you think is happening to Terrence Crawford? Why do you think all the attention is paid to Terrence Crawford? Because he is now the cash cow of boxing. He's not just the face of boxing. If I'm not mistaken, Terrence Crawford got a record high payday of $50 million from Turki Al-Sheikh. And Canelo Alvarez got his biggest payday of $150 million from Turki Al-Sheikh. Okay? So, Terrence Crawford gave Errol Spence his biggest payday. All right? So, if that's the case, Terrence Crawford shows us that any fight he fights, any fighter he fights, their biggest payday is going to come from him. That means, financially speaking, Terrence Crawford is now the face of boxing and the cash fucking cow of boxing. It is what it is. Money's going to flow to a fighter. Whoever faces Terrence Crawford is going to get paid. And Terrence Crawford himself is going to be paid. That's why you call him a cash cow. You're not just a cash cow because you got paid record numbers. It's because the guy who faces you is going to get his highest payday. So for JBZ and for Sergio Mora to try to carry this worn out narrative that Andre Ward has been talking about, how they try to blacklist Terrence Crawford in every single kind of way, that bullshit ain't gonna fly today. Okay? If you come and watch WattUNeed's channel, WattUNeed will set these motherfuckers straight. I will check your ass. Okay? I will check your ass. And I want y'all to go to other channels and let everybody know. Because One thing about WattUNeed is he don't tolerate bullshit in boxing. He don't tolerate bullshit narrators in boxing. And shout out to Aki Sports TV, who I will be speaking about next. Okay? Shout out to all these channels I'm talking about right now. Because you guys provide content as well. And you add to the discussion. So Sergio Mora is absolutely and incontrovertibly wrong. And for all those guys out there who want Terence Crawford to retire, y'all head better than having Terence Crawford retire. Y'all are a waste of fucking time. The man is about to get record paydays. Terence Crawford is into the money now. Terence Crawford could demand $80 million. He could demand $120 million. Why? Because he is the man of boxing, period. He is the face of boxing, period. Whether you like it or you don't like it. The name is now Terence Crawford. He commands record-breaking paydays. And whoever faces him gets record-breaking paydays, which is why. See if I can find it. Which is why Mr. Virgil Ortiz tells Terence Crawford, damn, just retire. What else can you do? And then he turns around after he said that. He didn't say damn, just retire, by the way. He didn't say that. But after that, he's saying, you know, I'm going to tell you something. I want to face Terence Crawford now. I don't mind facing Terence Crawford at 160. Why doesn't he mind facing Terence Crawford at 160? Why does Virgil Ortiz not? All of a sudden now he want to face Terence Crawford. You was in the same fucking division as Terence Crawford. You was a #1 contender for Terence Crawford's WBO title. Why didn't you face him back then? I'm going to tell you why. Because Terence Crawford is now the cash cow of boxing. Virgil Ortiz will get his biggest payday if he faces Terence Crawford. Y'all can't bullshit me out here, man. WattUNeed ain't going to be bullshitted by nobody out here. Okay? Y'all can't fool WattUNeed. The cash cow of boxing is Terence Crawford. Y'all need to stop the bullshit. And this man is now about to roll in money. And I was listening to, I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Sergio Mora, and I forgot what the other guy's name is. You guys help me out with the other guy's name. I can't remember if it was him or if it was what. But I'm going to say this. One time, they was talking about Terence Crawford unifying the belts at 160 and becoming undisputed for a record-breaking 4th motherfucking time. And let me tell you how historic that would be. And I can't remember who it was that was talking about this. But this could go down several different ways. By the way, shout out to Aki Sports TV. I don't know if it was Sergio Mora and what's the guy's name that talks for DAZN? I forgot what his name is. But the point is, it could go many different ways, right? You could have Terence Crawford versus Adama. You could have Terence Crawford versus, help me out, that European kid that has the 2 belts. You guys tell me what the name of that guy is. You guys talking on here? Let me take a look. Nope, y'all ain't saying nothing. If y'all say something, that will help the situation. But it's all good. So anyway, Terence Crawford versus Adama, or the European kid who has the 2 belts. He could face him. Or he can face Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara is what, 41, 42 years old now? They're both senior guys. Him versus Erislandy Lara, whatever. But here's my thing. The other 2 champions need to unify. So whoever Terence Crawford's not facing, they fight each other, right? Help me out here. What's the guy's name? Oh, you know what? I'm going to find it. Don't worry, I'm going to find it. I'm going to just look for it. Because I can't remember the guy's name at 160. Hold on. Right. That's it. Johnny Beck, right? Janibek is right now the IBF and WBO champion. You got Carlos Adames, and you got Erislandy Lara. So here's what I'm saying. This is how Terence Crawford can make history again. You know, man, there's so much I want to say, but we're gonna just stick with it like this. Crawford could probably face Erislandy Lara, right? At 160. Unify with beat him, right? And then while that's going on, you have Carlos Adames and you have Janibek. They could fight each other. And the winner faces Terence Crawford. Or Terence Crawford could face Janibek, who is the most decorated of them. He has 2 titles. And Carlos Adames and Erislandy Lara can fight each other. And then Terence Crawford fights that winner. Or Terence Crawford could face Carlos Adames and Erislandy Lara and Janibek fight each other. Whoever wins fights Terence Crawford, and he becomes undisputed. It only takes 2 fights. Terence Crawford only needs 2 fights to become undisputed and to make history. That means Terence Crawford would be undisputed middleweight champion. Of course, he's up in age, right? He's about he's 30. He's going to be 38 years old very soon. But here's the thing that's very interesting about this, right? Terence Crawford was lightweight champion. He was welterweight world champion. And if he becomes middleweight world champion, particularly welterweight and middleweight undisputed world champion, Terence Crawford would have made history in becoming, shout out to you. Well, I'm seeing something here. I can't see what it is. Let me see. Okay. You think he goes and beats all 3? That's the thing. That's what's so exciting about this. This is something he could shoot for, right? He would have been lightweight world champion. He'd have been weight world champion. He would have been middleweight world champion. Those are the, foundational weight classes, right? We have in between weight classes that have popped up in history and stuff like that. But these are like the weight classes, right? He would therefore become a undisputed, he would be 4-time undisputed world champion. He'd have been a super light undisputed world champion. He'd be a welterweight undisputed world champion. He'd have been a super welterweight, a super middleweight world champion, a middleweight world champion. He'd be 4-time. In the history of the 4-belt era, no one has become a 4-time, no man or woman has never become a 4-time undisputed world champion, and no one in the history of the 4-belt era has become a 3-time undisputed champion in 3 different weight classes. Curtis Shields is a 3-time undisputed world champion in 2 weight classes. Terence Crawford has already broken history in terms of no one, man or woman, has ever become undisputed in 3 weight classes. Terence Crawford just broke that mold, but he's about to break the mold again. He can make it really tough for everybody else by becoming undisputed at middleweight, and therefore he'd be undisputed in 4 different weight classes 4 times. And then the other crazy thing about it was he'd be undisputed at welterweight and at middleweight, and he would also be, if you were looking at the original belts and the original era, whatever, he would have been a champion in 3 different weight classes, undisputed in 2. Like he's the guy, he's the champ, right? He'd have been undisputed in 2 of the original, the open weight classes, as we say, not the sub weight classes, right? And then crazily enough, if you say hands down, who's the man at super lightweight? It was Terence Crawford. Hands down, who was the man at welterweight? It was Terence Crawford. Like when you say hands down, who's the man at middleweight? It would be Terence Crawford. And you say hands down, who's the man at a super middleweight? It would be Terence Crawford. You understand what I'm saying? This is what he could do. Like nobody could question that he's the guy. You know what I'm saying? And if he does that, he once again proves that he's just the king of boxing. Like weight-wise, if you was around about the same weight as Terence Crawford, or he could make your weight, he was going to bust your ass. That's what they're basically saying, right? And it's a very powerful statement. And it would put Terence Crawford up there, even further up in the, Mount Rushmore of boxing. Of course, the only thing that would keep him back is Father Time. Father Time could really fuck him over, but he keeps his body in good condition. He stays healthy. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't, treat his body wrong. So it's very possible that Terence Crawford could pull this off at the age of 39, which, again, that's a crazy stat because very few boxers in the history of boxing at the age of 38 or 39, or even before his 39th birthday, he could be 38 and accomplish this. And it's really important that he does this before he's 39. I'll tell you why. 38 is usually the age where boxers kind of fall off, and that's it. You know what I mean? So, and if he has to go down in weight, that could affect him in some way to make the 160-pound weight. You know, he was eating really nice and good for 168. He looked great at 168. I don't know how he would have to kind of, again, use that discipline, make sure his body's in order, make sure he doesn't lose muscle mass when he goes down, you know, all those kinds of things, those precautions for middleweight. And thankfully, he won't go down to 154. I don't think he's going to do that, but come up to middleweight probably, or even go, you know what I would say? Well, we'll see what happens. I think Terence Crawford was saying he was staying at 168 anyway. I don't know what will happen. But there's history to be made at middleweight. I'm not saying he will fight at middleweight. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that, you know, don't forget you can smash the like button. That is an interesting thing that he can literally pull that off within the year. You know, if he can get down to that weight. He could really pull that off and become, you know, undisputed. Now, the guys at 160, they're not bad guys. Carlos Adames is a hell of a fighter. You know, Erislandy Lara is a hell of a fighter. And Janibek's a hell of a fighter, right? Janibek's a southpaw, right? Carlos Adames, I think they're all southpaws in that division. I think Erislandy Lara is a southpaw. Janibek's a southpaw. And I think Carlos Adames is a southpaw. So that would be an interesting southpaw fest. You know what I'm saying? Fight of the southpaw. So that's an interesting thing as well to watch, to see how Terence Crawford would deal with this southpaw exponential. So if I was to Terence Crawford, you know, this would be what I would be targeting next, you know? And oh God, man, that would be a great career. You know, he's 42-0 right now. He'd be 44-0. You know, undisputed middleweight champion of the world. After that, you could retire, you know, getting record big paydays because these are good matchups. Erislandy Lara, he's up in age like Terence Crawford. So that would be a good fight. Erislandy Lara recently knocked out Danny Garcia, showing, you know, he got power and everything. Adames is a hell of a fighter, as everybody knows. And Janibek's a hell of a fighter. So those are really good champions to face Terence Crawford. You know, the middleweight division has been, you know, a decent division, a hot division. And now that Terence Crawford is the cash cow, they all will want to fight him, you know. Now, David Benavidez, with respect to David Benavidez, all y'all haters out there saying he need to face David. Now, what happens if Terence Crawford faces your boy David Benavidez? I'm going to tell you right now, if Terence Crawford faces David Benavidez, I'm telling you right now, I'm putting my money on Terence Crawford, okay? I don't see no David Benavidez beating Terence Crawford. I don't care how many punches David Benavidez throws. Terence Crawford's defense is up to that challenge, right? And don't tell me that David Benavidez was longer, because Jose Benavidez was longer than Terence Crawford. He was longer, supposedly stronger, you know, the bigger guy in every single kind of way. And Terence Crawford knocked his ass out. He knocked him out in the 12th and final round. He knocked him out cold. So if David Benavidez wants to face Terence Crawford, it's cool. Now, I don't think David Benavidez is going to try and get that smoke with Terence. I'm just telling you, right? Because the truth is, and I know a lot of y'all are going to say, well, you know, if David Benavidez faces Canelo, David Benavidez beats Canelo. That's what you guys think. I don't think so. I'm going to tell you why. David Benavidez is a similar kind of fighter to Canelo. That is, he's kind of plant his feet. He's kind of flat-footed. Throw a lot of punches, but his feet is not as quick as, again, he don't have the foot cardio to handle the situation. Crawford be bouncing in and out, you know, doing his thing. Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. It was a hard fight for David Benavidez. He wore down Caleb Plant down the stretch. He ain't going to do that shit to Terence Crawford. I'm just letting y'all know. You watching at a different guy. He ain't the same. He ain't no Caleb Plant. He's not even a Canelo. Right? David Benavidez versus Canelo. David Benavidez flat-footed. Canelo flat-footed. They gonna sit in front of each other and trade. I got Canelo all day, every day of the week. I said it. I say it again. Canelo don't have to go find David Benavidez. David Benavidez is not gonna make Canelo go find him. Right? So I see that fight, Canelo winning that fight, right? The problem with Canelo is his feet. And David Benavidez ain't going to present that problem to Canelo. David Benavidez don't have that kind of footwork that Terence Crawford has and that kind of a fleet of foot like Terence Crawford has. He's explosive, he's quick, but he's not, he ain't got that footwork, okay? So I ain't worried about David Benavidez. And let me say something. If David Benavidez fights Dimitri Bivol, I got Dimitri Bivol beating David Benavidez. For that very reason, that footwork. David Benavidez don't got that footwork. He just don't got it. And Bivol will turn him and beat his ass. And I saw Bivol go up against Beterbiev and beat Beterbiev. Make him look stupid. And he would do even worse to David Benavidez. And for the record, let me see here. Hold on. For the record, y'all could quote me on this. Did you see how Bivol pieced up Gilberto Ramirez? You see how he pieced his ass up? Gilberto Ramirez is a southpaw, by the way. He pieced up Gilberto Ramirez like he beat his ass like, you know, he owed him something. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't understand. You can't have cinder block feet. You know what I mean? You can't do the short pivots. You can't pivot the way you're supposed to, and your feet are not active. You can't have not active feet in boxing for 12 rounds and beat guys like Bivol and beat guys like Terence Crawford. That ain't gonna happen. You gotta have sharp, quick feet for 12 rounds. Canelo don't got that. And David Benavidez, he got a little bit of it, but he don't really got it either. Right? And that's where Crawford, see, it's all about your footwork. It's not about your height. It's not about your size. All these things, your power. It ain't even about your speed. It's about timing. Timing beats speed every day of the week. If a boxer can't get your timing, he can't land. And if he can't land, he can't find you. He's shooting blind. He's shooting wild, I'm shooting blind. I'm gonna tell y'all how high level that chess game was with Canelo. Because it was high chess, man. High chess. Jai smokes everyone in that division. Oh, Jai Apataya? Jai Apataya, see, because Jai Apataya got good footwork. He got good footwork. Now, shout out to Badu Jack in there. I see Badu Jack is still there. Badu Jack's a very good fighter. He's a good inside fighter. I would love to see Badu Jack versus Jai Apataya. But yeah, Badu Jack has quick feet. He has quick feet. Shout out to, but he's old though. That boy dangerous. He smokes Badu. I don't know if he smokes Badu, man. And Jai Apataya, I think he's southpaw as well. I would love to see that. I would love to see Badu versus Jai. No one wants to fight him. Yeah, that's what happens. When you have the skills, because Jai Apataya got the skills. Nobody wants to fight you when you got the skills. Hold on one second, guys. I'm going to pause this video for a second. I'm going to kill the mic. I'm coming right back. By the way, shout out to you, brother, for engaging with me, man. Shout out to you. Don't forget to smash the like button. I'm coming right back. I'm coming right back. Just hold on for 1 second. I'll be back in about a minute. Yeah, I'm back. Wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, Jai Pattaya, man, good fighter. Um, there's always a standout in any division. You know what I'm saying? There's always a standout in any division. And then other boxers that are like afraid to face him. But what boxers don't realize is you face a guy, yes, you want to be the best, but you can only be the best if you face the best. So you got to match him up. You got to get that fight, man. You got to fight Jai Pattaya. Go, you know, I don't know why guys don't throw themselves at that. But I guess it depends on the position you're in, your legacy, you're trying to get more money, whatever. But still, that by fighting the very best, once you don't get washed completely and you put up a fight, you know, you have nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? You have nothing to lose. Match him up. Shout out to Kia Ka. I think that's what your name is. You just said a couple comments and the comments disappear. If you make another comment, I'm gonna be able to see the comments. Be able to answer you. Yeah, man. So all I'm saying is that, you know, Dimitri Bivol, he another problem, bro. He another problem. Bivol is very, very good. He was undisputed, but now, actually, he's still undisputed. Okay, David Benavidez is the regular champion. I thought David Benavidez was the champion, and they stripped Dimitri Bivol. They didn't strip him. Okay, cool then. Let me see what you're saying there. Jai fighting Chris Smith, but I've never seen him fight. Because Chris Smith, yeah, definitely money. Yes, sir. Don't forget to smash the like button, my friend. Since we're having a conversation, which is kind of cool. I'm doing a whole bunch of other things while I'm doing this stream. That's why I didn't put it in video format. Because you know I'm handling several different things right now. So yeah, man, I'm telling y'all right now, right? That this boxing thing is so dope. Thank you, man. Thank you. No one wants to fight him. Yeah, Jai Pattaya is a fantastic boxer. I'm not gonna lie about that. He's a fantastic boxer, and he does look unbeatable right now. We'll see. I know and then again, he faced the very best in his division for quite a while now. So he been showing that he is the goods. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. So to all of you out there that have been watching this stream, shout out to all of you. If you got any other questions or any other things. So I just want to point out a couple of things. Since I'm here, I might as well point out the really shining lights in every single division. Undisputed heavyweight division right now, that is run by Alexander Usyk, right? Now, what people don't realize is Alexander Usyk said pound for pound king in boxing. He admits that the pound for pound king in boxing is Terrence Bud Crawford. And by the way, Alexander Usyk is one of my favorite boxers. And the fact that he acknowledges who is pound for pound number one, even before Crawford beat Canelo, even before Crawford beat Errol Spence, Usyk was saying his pound for pound number one fighter in the world was Terrence Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between UFC and boxing. They get the fights people want to see and why we're still waiting for them. Well, the thing about boxing is this, though. I got to say, you got to look at the Alley Act. The boxers negotiate what they want to get paid. You know what I'm saying? And you got these different, you have these different boxing companies, or promotional companies. So, to make fights happen, people have to negotiate. How much I'm going to get, what's my value, what's my stock look like, that kind of thing. So that's the business aspect of boxing. But thanks to Turkey Al-Sheikh and thanks to the Zone and thanks to Netflix and thanks to the PBC and thanks to, they push these fights on. So you end up getting fights that you want to see. And we've gotten a lot of good boxing, a lot of fights we wanted to see over the last couple of years. right? In women's and men's boxing because of that. Now, I want to just say one thing, though. They butchered the Deontay Wilder Joshua fight that would have been so big. Yeah, but that was back in the day. That's a while ago now. Um, and that's on them. You know what I mean? That's on them. They should have made that fight happen when it was supposed to happen. They did. So it is that's part of boxing. You know, sometimes some great fights that you would want to see, you don't get to see them, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to try and front for that. You know, the fighter's trying to get more money. The promotional company's trying to get more money. You know, this fight could be bigger. So that aspect of boxing it has its advantages and its disadvantages. But if you were really determined as a boxer to get a fight, as Terrence Crawford proved to you, the cream always rises to the top. You get to prove and showcase your skills, which reminds me of another thing I want to talk to you guys about. Crazy ass Timothy Bradley, okay? I say crazy ass Timothy Bradley. He's a Hall of Famer, of course. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what Timothy Bradley said and how ridiculous it was when you look at back then and now. What's your thoughts on this Paul versus? I'm not seeing. Paul versus what? Paul versus something. Just make a comment. I'll see the comments. They come and they go. The way how this app works, I can't keep the comments in front of me so I could see them, and I have to have a proper background to be able to see them. So let's just make the comment again so I could see it. Well, I'm just going to continue my point, Dean. So Timothy Bradley went on to say, I talked about this already. Timothy Bradley was saying that how, Crawford would beat Floyd, a Gervonta Jake Paul fight. Oh. What's my thoughts on that? It's an exhibition. It's an exhibition. In exhibitions, you can knock out guys. But nobody really wins in an exhibition. So if you're looking for somebody to get your hands raised, even though I saw Pacquiao versus the kickboxer guy and they raised Pacquiao's hand, but the truth is, in exhibitions, they don't count on your professional boxing record. So it really doesn't matter. So wins and losses don't really matter in exhibition. Exhibitions showcase your skills. Yes, people do get knocked out in exhibitions, so that is a possibility. But basically, an exhibition is there just for you to showcase your skills. It's not supposed to be for points or for anything like that. So it doesn't affect your professional record, right? So if Gervonta wants to maybe teach Jake Paul a couple of things about boxing, then that's what that's about. So it's not about anybody winning per se. Now, can anybody there knock out anybody there? I don't know. I really can't say. There's a big gap between Jake Paul's skills and Gervonta's skills. It's just what it is. Gervonta's Gervonta's a way better fighter than Jake Paul. Okay? By miles. And the reason that is because, you got championship experience. We're not talking about championship sparring now. Championship experience versus a guy who has no championship experience. The gulf, the gap between what Gervonta can do and what Jake Paul can do is just so wide. You know what I mean? That expect Gervonta to just run rings around Jake Paul and just have fun with him. It's like talking about Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather, right? Which is also a very big fight and it's going to be exciting and stuff. I don't care if Tyson comes in there with a sledgehammer. He ain't doing shit to Floyd, right? Because Floyd's just, again, way quicker than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's way older than Floyd by a significant portion. And so Mike Tyson, for example, if I had to pair up Mike Tyson with somebody, it'd be Evander Holyfield. I'd have Evander Holyfield training, have Mike Tyson face Evander Holyfield. Or Mike Tyson face another contemporary like Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis get himself in shape and they do an exhibition. To me, that makes more sense than having Mike Tyson, face a Floyd Mayweather, which I know Floyd's like, 10 to 15 years younger than Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's almost 60, right? And Floyd's like, what, 50 something? So, no, Floyd's not even 50. He's almost 50. So, it's like, it's fun to watch exhibitions. Ricky Hatton was supposed to, he faced Marco Antonio Barrera, and they were contemporaries. You get what I'm saying? If you're going to do an exhibition, you want to fight with somebody around your age. And I just think that, Mike Tyson's, that's not his contemporary. Floyd's not his contemporary. Now, he did fight Jake Paul, to the younger, bigger, stronger guy than probably Floyd would be. But nonetheless, how do I feel about that fight? I think that that is a fight that it's not a fight that comes to mind when you think of matching up fighters, right? Mike Tyson's way bigger than Floyd. Like, he's 200 and something pounds. He's like 5'11". He has shorter arms. I think he has maybe the same reach as Floyd. But whatever, I mean, it's an exhibition, so you can do whatever you want. Right? So going back to Timothy Bradley said that he thinks Terrence Crawford would he would whoop Mayweather's ass, KO Mayweather. And I remember back in the day he was talking about before, Lomachenko was going for undisputed and he was facing Campbell. And he said that Lomachenko was more skilled and therefore a better pound-for-pound fighter than Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford had become undisputed already. Loma was yet to become undisputed. Shout out to Aki Sports TV for this. And I'm like, Timothy Bradley says a lot of stupid shit, okay? And now he's adamant that Terrence Crawford would beat Floyd Mayweather and that he's a better boxer than Floyd Mayweather. Now, different people have different opinions. Obviously, Mayweather has a better defense than Terrence Crawford. He does. And like I said before, Floyd's a guy that's very tricky. And even Terrence Crawford himself said, nobody beats Floyd Mayweather. Terrence Crawford said that. And, no matter what hypothetical you come up with in Floyd Mayweather's era, some guys say, if Manny Pacquiao was in his prime and Mayweather was in his prime, Pacquiao would beat Mayweather. And Terrence Crawford disagrees with that. He's like, Floyd, like who if Pacquiao was in his prime, Mayweather was in his prime, who would win? He just quickly said Floyd Mayweather, right? This is because Terrence Crawford obviously knows he can beat Manny Pacquiao. And we all know that top rank, Terrence Crawford was supposed to face Manny Pacquiao after his fight with, I think it was Felix Diaz. Felix Diaz was a sparring partner for Manny Pacquiao. And Terrence Crawford knocked out Felix Diaz. I mean, he totally destroyed Felix Diaz. And they were like, nah, I think we'll pass on Pacquiao facing. Top rank was like, nah, I think we'll pass on Pacquiao facing Terrence Crawford. They didn't want to mess up their cash cow, right? Pacquiao was the cash cow. And I'm telling you right now, Terrence Crawford, unlike how Floyd fought Pacquiao in 2015, he didn't stop him. Terrence Crawford would have stopped Manny Pacquiao. That's somebody that would have gotten stopped by Terrence Crawford, for sure. Because Pacquiao gets hit with a check hook like so much. And Terrence Crawford has a left hand. You just imagine that left hand landing on Pacquiao as he's running. He'll run right into that left hand, go to sleep. And this was before Pacquiao faced Floyd as well. So, they're trying to preserve Pacquiao to get that showdown with Floyd, right? So anyway, so Terrence Crawford said, that in Floyd's era, he'd have beaten everybody, okay? No matter what hypothetical you try to come with, he'd have beaten everybody. He was like, that boy's a bad motherfucker, man. He's a bad man. Floyd's a bad man. His defense is almost impenetrable. And then he comes back. Terrence was explaining that boxing is a game of inches, right? It's a game of inches. What that means is I'm not going to take a step way back here where you can't hit me, but I can't hit you either. Right? That's running. You move so far away from the opponent, you can't counter. You want to make a guy miss, and you want to make a guy pay. This is why I said, and I will say it again, Erislandy Lara versus Canelo. You know, there's something Roy Jones Jr. said that I disagree with. Roy Jones Jr. said that Floyd Mayweather and Erislandy Lara showed us the blueprint on how to beat Canelo. First of all, I don't know why you sticking in Erislandy Lara's name since he lost to Canelo Alvarez. He lost. You can't show somebody a blueprint how to beat somebody and you lost to them. Right? That's the first thing. Second of all, Erislandy Lara had, on the inside, he was no match for Canelo. Canelo was beating his ass up on the inside. Lara was shooting from afar. And if you just have an outside game, you're not going to beat Canelo. You got to be able to beat him on the inside, and you got to be able to beat him on the outside. Dimitri Bivol showed that. Floyd Mayweather showed that. And also Terence Crawford showed that. And just in case y'all don't realize that, I'm going to show you. I'm going to actually show you some video footage on that. I got to stay focused, though. That's on the outside. Still on the outside. Still on the outside. Now he's on the inside right there. Mid-range. Outside. See, he always has an answer. He always has a counter for Canelo. Notice he's standing right in front of Canelo, but off on an angle. Look at him in the ropes. That's some crazy shit right there. Right in the pocket. Right in the pocket. Right in the pocket. Always got a counter. Inside. He just went in on him. On the inside again. Inside again. I'm just showing you. I'm just showing you. Okay? I just want to show you something. Because a lot of y'all hear me talk, but y'all don't see it. I like to give you visual reference. I like to show you what's really going on. Because that's the real way how you're able to really understand what's going on. This motherfucker here, man, this motherfucker was a bad motherfucker. Y'all have no idea. Terence Crawford knows. He knows Floyd very well. That's why I said, if Terence Crawford was to face Floyd Mayweather, it had nothing to do with size and length and power and all that bullshit y'all talk about. He knows what Floyd does. Timothy Bradley don't know what Floyd does. Terence Crawford knows what Floyd does. You know how I know that? Because Terence Crawford follows Floyd's blueprint. So going back to what I was saying, Roy Jones Jr. said that Erislandy Lara and Floyd Mayweather showed the blueprint for how to beat Floyd Mayweather. Now, Roy Jones Jr. is saying that because he's saying Erislandy Lara is a southpaw. You understand? But no, you can't say that. Why? Because Erislandy Lara lost to Canelo Alvarez. There ain't no blueprint on how to beat Canelo. You can't show somebody a blueprint on how to beat somebody and you lost to them. You get what I'm saying? So he's talking horse shit as usual. And Roy knows better. But he wants to deny Floyd his credibility. The man who gave the blueprint on how to beat Canelo is Floyd Mayweather. There ain't nobody else. Okay? And he stood right, well, he didn't stand exactly in front of, he's always off to an angle. But the point is, he stood in front of Canelo and he whooped his ass. Okay? He schooled his ass. Okay? And Canelo was very frustrated afterwards because he was getting beat upside the head. He was being outplayed. And what Terence Crawford and what Dimitri Bivol did, Dimitri Bivol to a lesser extent, Terence Crawford to a greater extent, and Floyd Mayweather to the greatest extent, because the fight wasn't close at all. I mean, if you give Canelo one round out of that entire fucking fight, you're being generous, right? Floyd basically whitewashed Canelo in that fight. And literally beat him up too. Like he beat him up, right? And Canelo's whole, demeanor and everything was shattered. He shattered him because this is a young Canelo thinking, this is an old guy, I'm going to beat his ass. I just beat Austin Trump. I feel in myself. I got defense. I can move. I'm slick. I can do it all. And then he gets schooled. I mean, he gets schooled by this motherfucker you're watching right here, smiling at you. Right? He got schooled. Okay? This is a cold-ass motherfucker, boy. Floyd Mayweather's a cold-ass motherfucker. Y'all can't say nothing about Andre Ward. And y'all can't say nothing about Terrence Crawford. I see y'all haters out there. Y'all want to hate on Terrence Crawford, but y'all can't say shit now. You know what Terrence Crawford is. Y'all try to pick at Floyd by saying he pick and choose people. No, he was the motherfucking cash cow. He was the face of boxing. He was the #1 fighter in the world. Everybody wanted to fight him then. Just like how Virgil Ortiz now want to fight Terrence Crawford. Now, motherfucker wasn't trying to fight him when he was at welterweight. You know, with the WBO title, he wasn't trying to fight him. Okay? But now when you can get the highest fucking payday of your life, and you can put yourself in a position, now you calling him out? I remember all you motherfuckers out there was talking about Paul Williams calling out Floyd. Antonio Margarito calling. It's a fucking payday they want. It's a payday. Canelo understood it. Payday. You want payday. Right? And Bobby Arum was punking Floyd. He punked Floyd with Margarito. He punked Floyd with Pacquiao. He had no intentions of putting Pacquiao near Floyd Mayweather when Floyd Mayweather was in his prime. No intentions. He knew what Floyd brings to the table. To this day, Bobby Arum knows what Crawford was. Why do you think he kept Pacquiao from Crawford? Come on, man. Make this make sense. Make this make sense. You know what they said about Andre Ward? Oh, he's so boring. Andre Ward is so boring. That's what they said. They made Andre Ward move up to 175, so they thought that Sergey Kovalev would knock his ass out. That's what they was hoping for, hoping and praying. So when Sergey Kovalev knocked Andre Ward down, man, they was rejoicing. They willing to give Sergey Kovalev the fight just off of a knockdown. They didn't care what Ward did later on in the fight. How he's beating Sergey Kovalev's ass. Beating his ass up, made him push his head outside of the ring. Was banging on that body. Y'all forgot about this shit. I hate to say it, man, but there are people in certain camps who they angry that certain fighters so good. They're just that good. Terrence Crawford gets it. Alexander Usyk gets it. Hey, hell, even Vasily Lomachenko gets it. They know what they seeing in that ring. They knew Floyd was the goods. They knew Crawford was the goods. Okay? So all the other people making all these fucking excuses. Oh, he ducked this fight. Floyd didn't duck, no, dodge. Nobody. Everybody Floyd faced was the #1 fighter in whatever division. He faced the very best of every division. Oh, well, he didn't face them in their prime because they didn't want to face him in his prime. When he was in his prime calling out Oscar De La Hoya and Shane Mosley and Costa Zoo, the same Roy Jones Jr. was saying, well, he got a lot to gain and nothing to lose, and they got everything to lose and nothing to gain. That's what Roy said on a telecast. It'd be really foolish to face Floyd Mayweather. He got everything to gain and nothing to lose, and they got everything to lose and nothing to gain. That's what he said. Then he turns around and says, oh, Floyd faced Shane Mosley when he was old, and he faced Oscar De La Hoya when he was old, and he only fighting all them old fighters. And where's the fighter, the black fighter that was in his prime that he faced? Blah, 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 blah. I don't just listen to these motherfuckers hate on Floyd, because we know they hated, because they know the real story. Ain't nobody wanted to face Floyd Mayweather when he was bad. When he was just chopping down motherfuckers. After their Arturo Gatti fight, we didn't hear Ricky Hatton's voice. Ricky Hatton was quiet. You could hear a church mouse move. Quiet. He didn't want nothing to do with Floyd. Wasn't calling out Floyd. After he butchered Ricky Hatton, he beat the brakes off of Ricky Hatton. Y'all know that. Not Ricky Hatton, sorry. He beat the brakes off Arturo Gatti. That was a super lightweight. He had to move up to welterweight. Ain't nobody wanted to pick a fight with him. Ain't nobody want to fight Floyd Mayweather. Okay? Alexander Usyk say Floyd is the goods. Vasily Lomachenko, I don't know if he's still boxing or he's not, or if he retired. I don't know what he's doing. But this is the guy Timothy Bradley said, was better than Terrence Crawford and deserved to be pound for pound number one if he beat Campbell, which was crazy. Terrence Crawford beating Olympians. He's beating, world champions. He becomes undisputed. He went abroad and he beat Ricky Burns. Ricky Burns, who's a 3-weight world champion, goes on to become world champion 3 more times in 3 different weight classes. Fucking Ricky Burns, right? Y'all don't even talk about Ricky Burns like that. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, he goes on and he fights Yuriorkis Gamboa. When Yuriorkis Gamboa was undefeated. I'm beating everybody. Cuban boxer. Exciting boxer. He goes on to beat. He stops Yuriorkis Gamboa. He wrecks his career pretty much. Because Gamboa wasn't the same after that. But the point is, he beats Yuriorkis Gamboa. Gamboa who can get fights. Because Top Rank had, they had blacklisted him because he didn't face Mikey Garcia. Y'all remember this shit? Then they went and blacklisted Mikey Garcia. Okay? Y'all remember this shit? I don't know if y'all have the memory to remember this shit. I remember it. Okay? So the same Vasily Lomachenko, who Timothy Bradley with his crazy ass decided to parrot, you know what kind of crazy shit I heard, what's his name? Timothy Bradley basically was echoing the sentiments of, what's his name? What's that guy that, for a brief moment, trained Mike Tyson and also changed Michael Moore? Terry Atlas. He echoing Teddy Atlas's narrative. You know what I'm saying? He's echoing Teddy Atlas's narrative. I see 66 of y'all in here. Y'all better show me some love. You better smash that like button. Y'all can't be listening to me like this and getting all this knowledge and y'all don't want to smash the like button. That ain't right. That ain't fair. Smash the like button, man. Show some love. I'm just saying. Teddy Atlas is the one that came up with the narrative. In fact, I remember Teddy Atlas actually going on the record and saying he thought that Lomachenko was a better mover in the ring than Floyd Mayweather was. I remember him saying that. I remember Teddy Atlas praising Lomachenko like crazy. I even hear Roy Jones Jr. praising up Lomachenko. He's one of his favorite fighters. But this is the same motherfucker trying to take away from Floyd his accomplishments when Floyd is like 100 to 200 million times better than fucking Lomachenko. I sold Lomachenko. I told y'all that Teofimo Lopez was going to beat his ass. And I told you the game plan how to beat Lomachenko. I told y'all. Devin Haney beat Lomachenko. Beautiful body punching, by the way. Because Lomachenko keep his guard up high. He don't protect his body. His body always open for shots. But Lomachenko is a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather. Well, I based on Timothy Bradley's logic, if Lomachenko is a better pound-for-pound fighter than Terrence Crawford, after all the accomplishments that Terrence Crawford had, right? Then I guess he was also a better pound-for-pound fighter than Floyd Mayweather, right? Where is motherfucking Lomachenko now? Where is he? If he's a better pound-for-pound fighter than Terrence Crawford, where is he now? Where's Terrence Crawford right now? And then the ultimate insult. You're telling me Terrence Crawford would beat Floyd Mayweather. He's a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather, but Lomachenko is better than him. So what are you saying? That Lomachenko is better than Floyd? Where is Floyd now? Where is Lomachenko now? I want to know, baby. Shout out to Aki Sports TV for bringing that highlight to the table. Because it's Aki Sports TV that brings that to our attention. Shout out to Aki Sports TV for bringing that up. And I don't even care about if it's a black or white fighter. I just want people to get their just due. I want you to tell the truth on the merits of the fighters. You understand what I'm saying? That's my problem. My problem is these people give false narrators, and that's how I know you hating, because you're not telling the truth. You're not telling the truth. You prefer to pit a black fighter against a black fighter to make your non-black fighter look good. And you drop the bar on how far that non-black fighter needs to achieve, and you praise them like if, and you criticize the black fighter when they do the same thing. How the fuck does Terrence Crawford, who is undisputed at the time, beat everybody in super lightweight class, goes up, beats the brakes off of, stops Jeff Horn. Nobody's ever stopped Jeff Horn. He stops Jeff Horn. This is Jeff Horn coming off of his upset win over Manny Pacquiao. Jeff Horn with that in and out style, showing you what that motherfucker would have done to Pacquiao, by the way. Jeff Horn, big ass Jeff Horn, coming in the ring 165 pounds. He beat the brakes off of Jeff Horn. He knocked him down multiple times, right? You're going to look at this dude who beat Jeff Horn, go up and went weight. Didn't have no tune-up fight, right? No tune-up fight. He just go up to welterweight, beat the brakes off of Jeff Horn, right? Was undisputed, knocked out, right? Knocked out the African dude who was a unified champion. On top of that, beat Victor Bostol, who was a good fighter. The African dude, he had flaws, all right? And Terrence Crawford jumped on that and beat his ass. He showed the blueprint how to beat that guy, right? Victor Bostol, let's get it real. And I always say this. I never changed my tune. Victor Bostol was a good win. Victor Bostol was a very good jabber. Technically sound. Undefeated. WBC champ. Remember, Victor Bostol stopped Lucas Matisse to become WBC champ. He stopped him. Victor Bostol shows up and shows his power when it's necessary. He beat guys like Hank Lundy. He stopped Hank Lundy, I think it was. He stopped a lot of credible welterweights, guys with big set of power and stuff. He performed the best against those guys. He beat them. So Victor Bostol being WBC champion, he was a rightful WBC champion. I was wondering how Terrence Crawford would handle that. Man, did he handle that? He put that guy down a couple times, right? And Victor Bostol's a solid fighter to this day. Even though Victor Bostol's, past his prime and so on, he still handles his story in boxing. You know what I'm saying? So Terrence Crawford beat that to me, and the Felix Diaz and the other, what's the other guy's name? I forgot his name. Actually, I could find him. Let me find him right now. Hold on a second. I'm gonna find him right now. You see these two wins at super lightweight? I consider these wins quality wins at super lightweight. Hold on, let me see if I can find it first. Julius Ndongo was the guy that he beat. I think he was the IBF and WBA champion. Felix Diaz was a very good win. Victor Bostol and also Derry Jean. You see Derry Jean? Was it Derry Jean or Felix Diaz that was the sparring partner for Manny Pacquiao? I think it was Derry Jean. See Derry Jean? That was a very good win. Derry Jean was a good fighter. Very good fighter. Very good fighter. I think he's from Haiti. You see these three wins? I valued them. Thomas Delorme proved himself, and he's a good fighter, but I think that the Derry Jean fight and the Victor Bostol fight and the Felix Diaz fight, them was better fighters than Julius Ndongo, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, okay? That was some quality wins right there. And to be honest, Derry Jean and Felix Diaz, I think they should have become world champions, but they just never did. The Gamboa and Ricky Burns fights, these were really great fights. Andrei Klimov, I don't know too much about him, but the Bredis Prescott fight was really his coming out party. He fought Bredis Prescott, I think, at welterweight, jumping up from lightweight to do that. That was something. And then the Ricky Burns fight, going away to Scotland to do that. The Gamboa fight, that was a good fight. And then Ray Beltran's a tough cookie. So that was a good fight as well. But the Derry Jean, the Victor Postol, and the Felix Diaz fight, them fights was the standout fights for me at super lightweight. And then, of course, at welterweight, you got to mention Jeff Horn because he beat Manny Pacquiao. You got no choice. Jose Benavidez Jr. They make excuses, but Jose Benavidez Jr. is the older brother of David Benavidez. And Jose talked a good talk, and he had, his range and height and stuff, but he got knocked out. Terrence stopped him in the 12th round. Stopped his ass. Cold. I don't really talk about Demir Khan. Terrence raves about Green Machine, but I thought Green Machine got beat by Ray Robinson. I thought Ray Robinson, southpaw, should have fought Terrence Crawford. Ray Robinson was a better fighter than Idris Calvalius because it would have been southpaw versus southpaw. I think Terrence would have beaten Ray Robinson, but the point is, Ray Robinson should have been there facing Terrence Crawford. They robbed Ray Robinson. I think they fought that draw. I think Ray Robinson beat him. And then Kell Brook was a good win. That was a solid win. Kell Brook came back to knock out Amir Khan in his farewell fight. And Sean Porter was definitely a solid win. I mean, dude went through some gears. He just suddenly changed gears on Sean Porter and stopped his ass. And Sean Porter's father threw in the towel one time. And then Errol Spence Jr., big win. Israel Madrimov, that's a good fighter. He'll become world champion again, I believe. And of course, Canelo Alvarez. I mean, Terrence Crawford, man, shit. You can't be shitting on this dude. This dude was here. He's at this point right here where he beat Jeff Horn, right? He beat Jeff Horn, and they saying that Lomachenko, will become pound number one if he beat what's the guy's name? Luke Campbell. If he beat Luke Campbell, get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. So you just gonna ignore everything that Terrence Crawford did in his career to the point of Jeff Horn win? Really? You serious? Right? And then he goes on to beat Jose Benavidez, who was undefeated at the time. I mean, come on now. You look at Terrence Crawford's welterweight career. He knocking out everybody at welterweight. Jeff Horn, Jose Benavidez, Amir Khan, and Idris Calvalius, Kell Brook, Sean Porter. He stopped everybody. David Avanesian, Errol Spence. He stopped everybody at welterweight, man. Everybody at welterweight. That's probably his best weight class. Everybody. They say, oh, Israel Madrimov. No, come on now. He beat Israel Madrimov easy, man. He used a jab. Beat him easy. He got hit with some shots. Let's not pretend. Israel Madrimov caught him with the lead right hand. He would lead, Israel Madrimov feint and he lead off of either hand. So he catch you with a good shot. Don't get it twisted. But, he beat Israel Madrimov easy, man. Thank you for smashing the like button. Shout out to the 14 different people who are here watching this stream. I got more for y'all ass. I got more for you. Don't worry, I got more for you. So yeah, crazy ass Timothy Bradley always saying stupid shit. But hey, in the middle of it, I do agree, and I know this is hard for people to say. My conclusion is the same as Timothy Bradley. I think that Terrence Crawford would beat Floyd Mayweather if they were ever to fight. I think he would beat him. I don't think he would beat him like how Timothy Bradley's saying every day of the week and blah, blah, blah. I don't know about that. I also don't think that Terrence Crawford would ever stop Floyd Mayweather. There's no way he's stopping him. What I think he might be able to do is I think he might be able to outpoint him. Right? And I'm not even 100% sure that would happen. I have to think about what Floyd brings to the table. I'm not sure, but he's the next generation, so why not? I mean, he watched Floyd. He knows, at least he knows some things about Floyd, some key things. It would be a tricky fight. I'm not gonna lie to you. That would be high level chess. They will be throwing punches. Don't get it twisted. Floyd would have to throw punches to some degree. So it would be interesting how that fight would turn out. That's a very interesting fight. But I think that Terrence Crawford has the tools, the mindset, the IQ to, I think Floyd is, in terms of IQ, I think he has higher IQ than Terrence Crawford. I think there are things Floyd could show Terrence Crawford in that ring that Terrence Crawford never seen before. But I think the difference would be Terrence Crawford's use. I think what would work to his favor would be the fact that he knows Floyd pretty well. Like, he studied Floyd. You could tell this guy was really into Floyd and what he did and how he conducted himself. And so mental warfare games, he knows he has to he knows he has to deal with that. He knows he has to deal with the fact that Floyd is thinking plays ahead. You know, he has to look at all the traps that Floyd would set, the trap sets and stuff like that. So, you know, I think that Terrence Crawford will be aware of those aspects of Floyd Mayweather's game, besides, you know, the stuff that he's going to see in that ring that he never seen before. But it would be in the context of what he knows already, kind of like. And remember, he's not going to go in that ring assuming anything. He's going to, whatever is presented to him, that's what he's going to have to deal with, you know. So I know different people have different opinions of how that fight would pan out. I get it. But just based on me thinking that, you know, the sport of boxing evolves, and I feel like Terrence Crawford has now received the torch from Floyd. And he's a smart boxer. He knows to, you know, if somebody has a blueprint on how to beat somebody else, don't veer from it. Do your version of that blueprint. You know what I'm saying? So in that respect, I think Terrence Crawford might be able to beat Floyd Mayweather. I think he's capable of doing it. I think he has what it takes to beat him in terms of mindset and skill and stuff. And, you know, how he uses his tools, it would be the question. And like he said, you know, Floyd's a guy that you have to have 6 pairs of eyes. You have to have 6 eyes, and you got to have 4 arms to beat him. Because Floyd does some things in there that'll make you wish you had extra arms to get to him. You know what I'm saying? He's slippery. You know, he's super slick, and he's also super quick. And Terrence understands that Floyd hits you when you least expect it. Like, he's catching you on the offbeat. So Terrence understands Floyd. That's why I said, you know, Terrence gets what Floyd is. And if you're going to be fighting Floyd, you got to be on for the entire 40-something minutes of the fight. Think of it as you're fighting in one big round. That's 48 minutes, right? That's what you're going to do when you're fighting Floyd. For 48 minutes straight, or how much time it takes, you got to be on. There's no breaks. When the bell rings, that doesn't mean you got a break. You still got to be on. You got to be switched on for 48 minutes or 12 rounds. You got to be switched on. You got to be dialing for 12 rounds. There's no in the corner relaxing. No, you got to be watching him in his eye. He watching you in your eye, and you on. You know, Terrence Crawford, I think, understands that, because if you don't understand that, if Terrence Crawford doesn't understand, this ain't gonna be no easy fight like how he had with Canelo, and Canelo's not an easy fight. This gonna be a hard ass fight. It's gonna be a mental warfare. It's gonna be about mental warfare at the end of the day. You know, Floyd is tricky, right? When you think you could hit him, you're gonna realize, oh shit, I can't hit him. And while you're in the middle of I can't hit him, he hits you bop, 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 upside the head. And when you're looking for him, he's not there. That's why he said you gotta have 4 arms. I'm pretty sure Terrence Crawford has studied the Mayweather versus Pacquiao fight, and he knows Pacquiao threw an 8-punch combination. Floyd was in the corner. You're supposed to hit somebody, you know, you nip the arms. Pacquiao hit ear. That motherfucker hit ear, and he fired off. I mean, Pacquiao fired off a combination of 8 punches. None of them landed. Crawford knows, man. He knows this motherfucker is a problem. I remember Terrence Crawford saying, and I agree. Shannon Sharp said to him, he said, "You think that Floyd Mayweather could beat anybody in any era? You think anybody in any era would beat Floyd? Anybody?" And Terrence Crawford said, "Listen, this is what I'm gonna say about that. If you fighting Floyd, it's a damn difficult fight. It's like a hard fight. That ain't no easy fight. They would have a tough time trying to beat him." And he's right, because Again, Floyd Mayweather's defense is the problem. And your greatest chance of hitting Floyd is if you can get him to come to you. And even then, if you don't get his timing, you have to be able to, because Floyd's not the easiest guy to read out there. He's not the easiest guy to read. When Floyd's on his game, he's changing his rhythm all the time. Some fighters fight with a rhythm. Terrence Crawford fights with a rhythm, right? Floyd don't fight with no specific rhythm. He changes up his rhythm all the time. So it's like a fucking Rubik's Cube for you. One minute he's bouncing this way. Next minute he's in on you. Next minute he's outside on the side of you, shuffling. He does different things. He changes up his rhythm. And that's the problem with Floyd. That's why he's not easy to read. That's why he's not easy to find. That's not he's not easy to hit. And people say, well, the jab will keep him honest. If you throw in the same jab at Floyd, time and time again, he's going to neutralize that jab. That's what the problem with Oscar. Oscar was throwing the same jab at Floyd. He was reading it. He was timing his jab, and he was countering his jab. Floyd's a guy, man. You can't be predictable with him. You can't be doing the same shit to him. He's going to learn. He's going to adjust to you. He's going to adapt to what you're doing, and then he's going to do his thing. So that's the problem with Floyd. He's not easy to beat. He is not easy to beat. And he knows what it takes to win. He knows how many rounds he needs to win. He knows how many points he needs to win a fight. So it's very, very hard to beat Floyd. That's why Terrence Crawford was right. He said, ain't nobody could beat Floyd like that. He said, ain't nobody could beat Floyd just like that. You ain't beating Floyd just like that. Because as Stephen A. Smith says, one thing I agree with Stephen A. Smith, Floyd seems to be, he's not just a technician, he's a magician. He's not just a technician, he's a magician. What he means by that is, it appears that Floyd knows what you're going to do next. And there's two reasons why he knows what you're going to do it. One, he's walking you into a trap that he has already set for you 5 rounds away. He's setting you up for a trap, actually, but he doesn't spring it immediately. The second reason is the best. He's very observant. He's watching for what you tell. He's watching your body language. He's watching everything. And he's not just observing you. He's observing the crowd. He's observing the commentators. He's listening to what they have to say. The gift that Floyd has is he's extremely, extremely conscious and aware of the present all times in that ring. He's aware of everything. As Andre Berger said, he's aware of everything going on in that square circle. His awareness is ridiculous. That is why Terrence Crawford said you need to have 6 pairs of eyes. Your awareness needs to be on his level. You have to be aware of everything going on. And not only aware of everything going on, but aware also of the telltale signs of your opponent and what they're doing. You have to be also aware where the referee is in the ring at all times. You have to be aware of which judges are where and what their positioning is. Like Floyd knows all this shit. When he sits down in the corner to take a rest, his mind hasn't stopped working. He's like aware of the crowd. He's aware of the judges. He's aware of what somebody's whispering in a corner somewhere. He's aware of what you're doing in your corner. And he's watching you. That's the crazy thing about Floyd. Andre Berto nailed it on the head. He's very aware of everything going on in that square circle and even outside of it. That's his gift. When we say Floyd's sharp, we talking sharp on another level. And that's what Timothy Bradley obviously does not grasp. And he has not been listening to other people. Timothy Bradley talks about he was reaching for Zab Judah. If you do that against Terrence Crawford, well, he won't reach for Terrence Crawford. Obviously, he has many different methods he uses to close the distance on Terrence Crawford. And the other thing is, what happened after Zab Judah stung Floyd? After Zab Judah had his fun, had his time, Floyd was breaking down the body. From the get-go, he was going to the body. What happened to Zab Judah? Didn't Floyd almost knock out Zab Judah? What happened to Shane Mosley after he landed those big punches? What happened? Didn't Floyd beat his ass for 10 more rounds? I mean, Timothy Bradley is talking shit. And I like what he's saying. in the sense that he's creating an environment where Crawford and Mayweather at some point later on in the future could have an exhibition. I'm cool with that. I would like to see that. That's okay. I'm cool with that. But my issue is when you start saying shit and you don't know what you're saying, Timothy Bradley. And our Key Sports TV even checks you on that because you had the opportunity to face Floyd Mayweather, as our Key Sports TV said, and I said as well. You had the opportunity to face this guy. And you pussied out. And then afterwards you say, man, maybe Floyd would have beat my ass. So if he would have beaten your ass, how do you know that Terrence Crawford could beat his ass? You never fought him. Now, if you had fought him, now I could take you seriously. I could at least take Canelo seriously. He said Terrence Crawford's a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather. That's his opinion. All right. I know you're a little salty because Floyd Mayweather beat his ass. I mean, more comprehensively than Terrence Crawford could ever beat his ass. All right. Literally shut his ass out. And remember, a lot of things you guys are forgetting is Canelo on fight night outweighed Floyd Mayweather by 15 pounds. Ain't no way in hell Canelo outweighing Terrence Crawford by 15 pounds when Terrence Crawford faced Canelo. This is something that y'all are forgetting, right? Canelo came in damn near a super middleweight. And Floyd came in as a small super welterweight. Think about what I'm saying now. Terrence Crawford jumped up from super welterweight to fight Canelo at super middleweight. In reality, that's what Floyd kind of did with that Canelo, even though he wasn't fighting at super middleweight. When you look at fight weights, right? If this was the olden days, Floyd's a middleweight, very small middleweight, and Canelo is a super middleweight or a light heavyweight, because back in the days, you didn't have super middleweight. Super middleweight came when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Bionic Man. I forgot what his name is right now. It'll come to me. Donnie Lalonde, right? Donnie Lalonde came down to 168 because he was a small light heavyweight, and he fought where are you getting that info? Where am I getting what info? You gotta be more specific. Explain what you mean. Where am I getting what info? So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that. Now, with respect to Floyd, all right, let's leave Floyd out of the picture because I talked a lot about Floyd there. I really was about Crawford I wanted to really talk about. And Timothy Bradley, I respect him. He's a Hall of Famer and everything. I think you take a little too much punches to the head. I know Timothy Bradley's trying to spice up things, just like how Oscar De La Hoya trying to spice up things, get people to have a conversation, stuff like that. So I get what Timothy Bradley is doing. And I respect Timothy Bradley's career, his accomplishments. Usually Timothy Bradley says some really insightful things at times that I agree with, okay? There's other times when Timothy Bradley is kissing ass for the networks, whether it's ESPN or for, favor with certain fans and certain fan base. And I don't think that's cool, Timothy Bradley. Quite frankly, you saying this is your honest opinion, you know better than that. You know boxing better than that, right? The fact that you would even say Floyd Mayweather would beat your ass, that don't help the situation. How can you say Terrence Crawford would beat him? You sparred Terrence Crawford, right? You sparred Terrence Crawford, right? What are you saying? You saying Terrence Crawford would beat your ass then? Because if Floyd would beat your ass, and you saying Terrence Crawford is better than Floyd, what are you saying? Terrence Crawford beat your ass in sparring? That's what you're saying? You got your ass beat? That's what you're saying? Because it had to be that. And if you got your ass beat by Terrence Crawford, how can you say whether Terrence Crawford would beat Floyd Mayweather's ass? You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't, like, you know what I'm saying? It don't match up. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, man, I've talked enough about this topic. The point I'm making is you guys must be able to assess what people say to you. A lot of you out there, you just take what people say and you echo it. Canelo said that Crawford's better than Floyd. He fought Floyd. He fought Canelo. He fought Crawford. So he's saying Crawford's better. But if you think about it, do the facts line up? When it comes to Canelo, he was younger. He had more energy. He threw more combinations. He was beating people. He was undefeated when he faced Floyd Mayweather. And he got schooled. Right? He got schooled. If you give Canelo one round of that fight, you're being generous. He got schooled. I don't think he won a single round. Right? So how can you say that Crawford's better than Mayweather when Mayweather beats you more comprehensively than Terrence Crawford did, and you were saying that your body wasn't working like it used to work? So that means you're at the tail end of your career. You got a lot of knowledge. You still have the same fundamental flaw you had when you faced Floyd, but you're not as young. Your body is not as young. You were in your prime back then, or closer to your prime, than you are now. Right? So what are you really saying? How could Crawford be better than Floyd? What's your excuse? Oh, I didn't have enough experience to face Floyd. Who doesn't have enough experience to face Floyd? No one has ever had enough experience to face Floyd. Think about what I'm saying here. He beat everybody. So what are you talking about? You actually thought you could beat Floyd? Crawford just whooped your ass. Crawford just whooped your ass. Crawford comes from the same school as Floyd Mayweather. So you think because you had more experience, you could have beaten Floyd? Get the fuck out of here, man. And you know what's the biggest joke? The biggest joke is this. Crawford also came up from welterweight. Crawford made a point. He validated Floyd. And y'all don't even realize that. He validated Floyd. Man said Floyd Mayweather is the GOAT of boxing. Listen, let me show you all guys something. This is so funny. Crawford came from welterweight, where Floyd used to be. Jumped up all the way up to super middleweight and whooped Canelo's ass. In other words, if we're going to make the argument, today, Shane Mosley and they're saying that Canelo would beat Floyd's ass. If Floyd was to fight Canelo today, well, guess what? Floyd, in the form of Terrence Crawford, beat Canelo today. And an old-ass Terrence Crawford at that. Almost a 38-year-old. Whooped Canelo ass. Not a prime Terrence Crawford. He's not in his prime. Just like how Floyd wasn't in his prime when he beat Canelo ass. Because Canelo has a fundamental problem. He's a fucking phenomenal boxer. Nobody's saying no. He comes from the school of boxing that Mayweather and James Toney and Roy Jones Jr. He a Mexican fighter, but he come from that school. Sugar Ray Robinson, all these guys. He come from that school. He's slick. He got great defense. You know, he got great counterpunching. He can lead off, cut off the ring. He can do a lot of things. The problem is he don't have foot cardio. I said it again. I'm going to say it again. People say he's a flat-footed fighter. They say he's a slow-footed fighter. I disagree. I think his feet never were well-conditioned. He got quickness. He have quickness in spurts. He can move his feet very quickly in spurts. But to say he going around the ring, quickly moving his feet and going all around, he not Arislandi Lara. He's not Arislandi Lara. He can't lap a ring over and over and over again with the kind of speed and quickness and foot movement and foot cardio like Arislandi Lara. Let's put it that way. Right? He's explosive. He's quick. Oh, Canelo's quick. He's got good hand speed. He's got good combos. You know, he got great defense. Great, not good. Great defense. Right? I was listening to somebody, The Truth. Shout out to Truth. And The Truth was saying that Canelo is not an elite fighter or he's not a great fighter. Please, permit me to break it down. Canelo is a great fighter. He is a great Mexican fighter. But like most Mexican fighters, his problem is that When you have to get power, you have to plant. When you have to plant, it means you're going to be more flat-footed than if you're just on your toes moving around the ring. Don't get me wrong. Canelo has showed us he could box. When he was younger, he moved around the ring on his toes, came in and out, be banging on people, beating them up. As he got older, he stopped doing that. Even against Triple G, in which he fought he looked like Floyd in there. His feet he couldn't maintain it. That's why he had to stay in the corner at times and Triple G bang on him. He couldn't move around the ring all the time. But he was having fun with Triple G. I mean, shit. That first fight, Triple G couldn't touch him. Couldn't touch him. Right? Because he's got that same defense that Floyd has. He can move in and out. And you could throw 6-7 punch combinations and not touch him, not even once. You're not even touching him once. Canelo is a fucking phenomenal fighter. When I say he's a fucking phenomenal fighter, I mean it. All right? His one kryptonite is not, he does fight flat-footed when he wants to get power and whatever. But that's not his kryptonite. His kryptonite is he cannot sustain that quick movement. He has to do it in bursts. He can't sustain it. That's his problem. That's his problem. He cannot be consistent. He cannot go for 12 rounds moving his feet around the ring rapidly and quickly and readjusting and being on his toes all the time. That is his problem. Right? And that's the reason why he lost to Bivol. If he could have keep up with Bivol, it would have been a more interesting fight and it would have been a closer fight. And they probably would have given him the decision because he kept up with Erislandy Lara. But that's the reason why he kept up with Erislandy Lara was because he was able to land his body shots on Erislandy Lara. He was not keeping up with Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant was outboxing him. But he kept on in the clinch. He had a really clever veteran move where once he got in the clinch with Caleb, he caught Caleb Plant's jab. He caught his jab with his gloves. This motherfucker is so sick. Y'all have no idea how sick Canelo is. He did the same thing with Sergey Kovalev. He caught Caleb Plant's jab, kept it hyperextended, and he would land nasty right hands to Caleb Plant's spleen. He's wearing Caleb Plant down. Every time Caleb Plant tried to shoot, Caleb Plant would shoot the jab from the hip. Sometimes he'd shoot it long. And Caleb Plant would shoot a jab to slide in to clinch. And Canelo would catch him in between that. With Sergey Kovalev, this motherfucker is so sick. I saw Canelo catch Sergey Kovalev's jab underneath his elbow, under his arm, in his elbow. Hyperextended. And then take that moment, he kind of slightly ties him up for a second to throw the overhand right on him, come back with a left hook to the body. Canelo is y'all have no idea how sick Canelo is. Canelo knows how to deal with guys with jabs and with long reach. That's what I'm saying. Y'all have no idea, man, what this motherfucker can do. And far less for Floyd. Reach and jab and all that shit don't mean shit with Floyd. If you throw in a jab one way too many times, he gonna read that and he gonna have a counter for you. Floyd takes away people's jabs. He took away Oscar's jab. Right? He took away Miguel Cotto had an interesting jab. He bloodied Floyd's nose, but before the end of the day, Floyd was taking away that jab. He disarmed him. That's what Floyd do. And y'all have to understand, Canelo is he's a bigger Mexicanized version of Floyd. Just like I always say, to me, Canelo's more like James Toney. I was listening to James Toney in an interview with the Porter Way podcast, and he was saying that Canelo don't know how to fight southpaws. That is a load of shit that James Toney just said. Okay? If that's true, then he shouldn't have knocked out Billy Joe Saunders. He beat Billy Joe Saunders' ass. Billy Joe Saunders is a southpaw. Erislandy Lara, he beat Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara is a brilliant southpaw. Moved too fucking much in that fight. Should have stayed in the pocket. But L.I.V.E is a southpaw. What are you talking about? The other guy they knocked the fuck out of, Canelo knocked the fuck out of that dude. He was a southpaw. Ann Wolf used to train that dude, but she didn't train him for that fight. I forgot what his name is. He was a southpaw. Then of course we have the undefeated. I can see his face, but I can't remember. He beat Miguel Cotto. He was a southpaw. What the fuck are you talking about? He can't fight for southpaw. What the fuck are you talking about? He dropped him. What's the guy's name? Hold on, let me get Canelo's resume. Hold on a second. Canelo Alvarez. Here he is. What are you talking about? Canelo know how to fight southpaws, man. Hold on. Look, John Ryder was a southpaw as well. Knocked John Ryder down. What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about, man? Austin Trout. Austin Trout was a southpaw. And Canelo was making him miss. Making him miss and making him pay. Okay? Austin Trout, Erislandy Lara, James Kirkland is the guy I'm talking about. James Kirkland knocked him the fuck out. He was a southpaw. I don't know what they're talking about. Miguel Cotto was a switch hitter. Canelo beat him. I don't know what y'all talking about, man. Y'all tripping. Y'all fucking tripping. All right. Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders was a southpaw. Y'all fucking tripping, man. Mine's me. Julio Cesar Chavez versus Mildred Taylor. Mexican knocked him out, stunned everybody. Man, Canelo, y'all don't understand. Canelo a bad motherfucker. He's a bad motherfucker. Don't let Floyd fool you. We say Canelo's easy work. Easy work. Of course he was easy work for you. For Floyd, he ain't easy work for everybody. Ask Caleb Plant. Canelo's not easy work. And Caleb Plant was winning that fight on points. Right? Ask Triple G if Canelo's easy work. Ask Triple G. You know what I'm saying? Ask Billy Joe Saunders if Canelo's easy work. Ask him. Okay? He's not easy work. Okay? I would have loved to see Canelo versus Demetrius Andrade. I still want to see that fight. I would love to see Canelo versus Demetrius Andrade. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. Canelo versus Charlo. That's still a big fight. And that's a fight we would love to see. I don't know if Charlo would take it, though. I don't know where Charlo's at right now. But that's still a good fight. And Charlo's still undefeated. Now, we already saw him against Mel. And what happened with Mel? What happened with Mel? Mel felt that power and said, fuck this shit. I just want to make it to round 12. Right? Iron Man Charlo. Mel said, fuck this shit. I just want to make it to round 12. Y'all gotta understand, not everybody ain't Terrence Crawford. Y'all need to understand how, put some respect on that motherfucker's name. You see Terrence Crawford? He a bad motherfucker. Right? And you got to put some respect on Canelo's name. Because when Charlo and they saw Canelo jump up to 175, he went from 160 to 175 and beat Sergey Kovalev. How many 160 pounders? Male. Ooh, name any 160 pounder right now. Lara, Mel, whoever else is at 160, even Gennady Golovkin. You think they go jump up 2 divisions to fight Sergey Kovalev? Get the fuck out of here. You got to put some respect on Canelo's name, because Canelo jumped up 4 weight classes. 4 weight classes. He jumped up. He started. He was undisputed. He was a unified at 154. Then he went up to 160 for Triple G. Then he went up to 168. Then he went up to 175. And he fought the best guys at 175. Y'all can't say he didn't fight the best. He fought Bivol and he fought Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev was the number 1 guy in the division, I believe, at the time. I could be wrong. It could have been Beterbiev. It could have been Beterbiev. But he was up there. He was in the top 10 guys, for sure. And he was a world champion when Canelo fought him. And he was a world champion that got back his title, right? right? Eliter Alvarez beat him after Andre Ward beat him. He had won back the title, and then Eliter Alvarez beat him. And then he beat back Eliter Alvarez to get back the title. Right? Then he fought Anthony Yarde in a tough-ass fight. Then he goes and fights Canelo Alvarez. Not too long after. So, he didn't fully, repair his body before he fought Canelo. And he boxed his ass off in that fight. I have so much respect for Sergey Kovalev. When I saw, because I knew he looked drained. He looked overtrained for that fight. You could see he didn't have what he was supposed to have in the tank. The wear and tear on the body. And he boxed his ass off. Canelo still knocked his ass out. Because Sergey Kovalev always tires in those later rounds. And Anthony Yarde almost knocked his ass out in the later rounds. If Anthony Yarde knew how to keep his composure, he'd have knocked out Sergey Kovalev. That was a tough-ass fight Sergey Kovalev went through. He almost got knocked out. And then after all of that tough-ass fight, he goes and fights Canelo right after? Not even a few months later? Yeah, of course, it's going to be wear and tear on him. And Canelo finished the job that Anthony Yarde started. But still, balls. You move from 160 all the way up to 175? And you beat that dude? Which middleweight's doing that shit out here? That's how confident he was in his skills and in his defense and in his abilities. He fought Bivol. Bivol didn't stop his ass. And Bivol was tagging him up a bit. But his defense is so on point and his reflexes are so on point that, Canelo, it's hard to knock out Canelo, man. It's hard to knock him out. And it's not because he has a hell of a chin. It's his defense. Y'all have to understand, Canelo got defense. I told y'all, I'm confident that Canelo would never get knocked out in his career because he's got that defense. Hell of a fighter. Hell of a fighter. So that's why I'm saying to you guys, yes, he has a flaw. And that's what these exceptional fighters can beat him. You have to be one of the greatest fighters of all time to beat Canelo Alvarez. Floyd's one of the greatest fighters of all time. Bivol's up there with them. Y'all don't give him the respect he deserves. And we saw Bivol beat Beterbiev. That's how we knew Bivol is that special kind of fighter. And I thought he beat him twice. I thought he beat him the first time, and I thought he beat him the second time more convincingly. Right? This is a different breed of fighter, man. Not just anybody off the street could beat a Canelo. Not just anybody. So when you say that, when truth tells us that, Canelo, he ain't that exceptional fighter. So what? Triple G's an exceptional fighter? Is that what you're saying? What is Triple G doing in his career? And I'm not saying that people didn't duck and dodge Triple G, but I'm just saying. Canelo beat Triple G twice, man. On the record, I thought he beat him all three times. All three times. For the record. Right? I thought he outboxed him, and then the other two times he outbullied him. Right? But y'all gonna praise Triple G, but y'all gonna disrespect Canelo? Now, come on now. Come on now. You watched two great pound-for-pound fighters past Saturday gone. The Saturday before this one. You saw two pound-for-pound fighters duke it out for the number one spot. And one prevailed over the other. And with due respect, all of the rounds were very competitive. While Crawford won most of the rounds, like I said, I thought I gave Canelo 3 rounds. I thought it was more 9-3. I thought Crawford beat him 9-3. I thought Canelo won 3 rounds out of the whole fight. Okay? One judge had it 8-4. I could go with 8-4 even. But it was a comprehensive win. It was a resounding win. Crawford won. Okay, and some other judges had it 15-13. I don't understand how you could have it 15-13. I'm sorry. Where are the rounds that Canelo won? Yeah, he was the guy coming forward at times. Crawford pushing back at times. But who was winning the trades? Who was winning the battle of shots? Yeah, Canelo landed a couple of shots on Crawford. Just, the right hand, some left hooks. But ultimately, in the end, Crawford was landing way more shots, was controlling the real estate, was determining what Canelo would do next. He was controlling the fight. So You know, I just want people to respect fighters. I think a lot of y'all be Team Crawford or Team Canelo for whatever reason, whether it's racial, racist, cultural, whatever reason, you back Canelo. I know there are racist commentators out there, who try to put down black fighters and lift up, fighters that look more white. I know that. To this day, Max Kellerman disingenuously tries to put Pacquiao above Floyd Mayweather in the pound for pound list. How the fuck do you do that? Not only did Mayweather dominate his era and was the number one pound for pound fighter in his fucking era more times than Pacquiao, but on top of that, he beat Pacquiao. Nobody's beat Mayweather. How the fuck do you... pound for pound means this. Pound for pound means this. If we the same size, I whoop your ass. That's why I'm pound for pound number one, because there ain't nobody out there that could beat my ass. That's what it means. So you telling me if Pacquiao and Floyd were the same size, they fought each other at the same size. Floyd beat Pacquiao at the fucking same size. But Pacquiao is a greater pound for pound fighter than Floyd. Who has beaten Floyd to make that possible? I could understand if Floyd got beat by certain fighters and Pacquiao beat those fighters. And Pacquiao has a lot more weight classes he went up. So you could argue then, okay, maybe Pacquiao is better than Floyd. But that situation has never existed. You know what I mean? It's never happened. Floyd's never been beaten. Nobody knows how to beat Floyd. Okay? And it's the same for Terence Crawford. Now, y'all can argue, well, Alexander Usyk beat Tyson Fury. Okay. Here's my question to you. Was Tyson Fury pound for pound number one fighter in the world for an extended period of time? Was Tyson Fury the cash cow of boxing for an extended period of time? I mean, who is the cash cow of boxing the longest since Floyd Mayweather has left? And the answer is Canelo Alvarez. I mean, this ain't even rocket science. Right? Been dominating the business scene of boxing for the longest while. Right? Been collecting them big paychecks. And for those people saying, Canelo lost or he's a loser, what the fuck are you talking about, man? At that level, there are no losers. There are no losers. You get $150 million payday, there's no losers there. Are you out of your damn mind? There are no losers. What do you think? This is prize fighting. You want to get to that point where you can make $150 million a night. You want to get to that point. That's what it's all about. Taking care of your families and taking care of people. And you may love boxing. You want to box and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's a prize fighting business. And that's what Floyd was working his way up to. When he got the Pacquiao fight, he didn't do no antics or nothing because he reached where he wanted to go. Canelo has nothing to prove. Let me show you Canelo's resume because y'all tripping. Y'all real fucking tripping, man. Y'all fucking tripping. Let's talk about Canelo's resume because y'all like to poke holes in the man. And I'm not saying no to some of these things. Some of these things y'all say is true. But I'm going to show you something. Early in his career, Canelo's career, young Canelo, he's still in his teens. He becomes world champion, I think, in his teens, right? This young guy is fighting big-ass grown men. I'm going to show you some of the guys on the resume. Canelo's resume. Y'all got to put some respect on this fucking man's name. Miguel Vasquez. One of the long-reigning IBF lightweight champions of the world. Miguel Vasquez. I think Canelo fought him at super lightweight, if I'm not mistaken. I think Canelo began his career at super lightweight, okay? Or it could have been a welter. I can't remember. But Miguel Vasquez, long-reigning IBF champion. He would go on to become that. He was undefeated at the time Canelo faced him. I think Canelo faced him twice. With also Timothy Bradley faced him twice. And notoriously difficult to beat. Canelo beat him. Canelo was in his teens. He's still a teenager when he beats this guy. I don't think y'all are grasping what I'm saying. I'm going to say it again. because a lot of y'all don't grasp what I'm saying. He was a teenager when he fought that guy. Hold on a second. Let me just go. Yeah, Canelo was a teenager when he fought that dude. I'm gonna show you. Show. A lot of people just don't understand, man. A lot of people don't understand boxing. That's the problem, right? He fought Lovemore Endu. Lovemore Endu, IBF world champion, former IBF world champion. That was a great fight, man. And it prepared him for the championship fight against Matthew Hatton. That was his championship fight. And Matthew Hatton was tough as nails, man. He was tough. He's tough. He wasn't going nowhere. You know what I mean? If I'm not mistaken, that fight went the distance. Okay? Fights an old ass Alfonso Gomez, a guy who beat Arturo Gatti, if I'm not mistaken. Then he fights former world champion Kermit Cintron. I think Kermit Cintron at the time was the number one guy in the division. He then went on to face Shane Mosley. People thought Mosley was done. He put on a hell of a fight against Canelo Alvarez. He then went on to fight Austin Trout. All these names I'm mentioning, these are, you remember, you're developing as a champion, and now you unify. You unify with Austin Trout to become the unified WBC, WBA world champion. Austin Trout just coming off of beating Miguel Cotto. And while I disagree, the scorecards were way too wide for that fight. I thought Canelo won. Right? So just leading up to the Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight, that's some good shit right there. You know what I'm saying? Canelo ran 2 years before he fought Triple G. No, he didn't run 2 years, bro. He was trying to acclimatize himself to the way. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it because I hate when people give false narratives. Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd Mayweather Jr. So he took on Floyd next. Dude, legendary fighter. Floyd Mayweather Jr., legendary fighter. One of the great, if not the best fighter of all time. Floyd Mayweather Jr., TBE. He fought Mr. TBE himself. 7 years ago, my parents were eaten by... shut up, man. Stop. Yo. Yeah. Okay, he loses to Floyd. He fights El Perro, the dog. Then he fights this motherfucker take on Erislandy Lara next. He didn't back down. He took it on. Erislandy Lara saying, people were saying, you ducking Erislandy Lara. He took the fight. And yeah, Lara was dominating the first 4 rounds for sure. Canelo was getting tagged up like left, right, and center. But then he started to do that body work, boy. And he came back from behind. Look at the fights before the second GGG fight. Says Sebastian Trade. And there's a lot of messages help for review there. Okay. I give Canelo mad props for facing Erislandy Lara. I thought the fight was close. I thought Canelo came from behind and he took the later rounds. I think the body punching by Canelo wore down Erislandy Lara. He busted Erislandy Lara's eye. He kept on working that body, boy. He was religiously working that body to try and slow him down. Lara thought he won the fight, but he didn't win that fight. Too much body work, man. Right, so he fought Erislandy Lara. He always wanted to face James Kirkland. I don't care about that fight. Miguel Cotto. He fought Miguel Cotto. Come on, man. He fought Miguel Cotto for the WBC title. That's how he got the WBC title. Okay? He stepped up. This is his step up to middleweight. Now, truth be told, Cotto and him fought it more at. It was more of a super welterweight fight though, because I think they fought it at 155. You know, remember the Canelo weight? I think they fought it at 155, 156, something like that. Hell of a fight. Miguel Cotto put on a hell of a performance, showing he wasn't old and washed out or anything like that. He put up a hell of a performance, but Canelo got the nod. Okay? But it was a hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. Nobody's disagreeing with that. You know what I'm saying? Khan fight, I didn't care for that. Liam Smith fight, didn't really care for that either. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight, that was a fight at 165. If you do remember, Julio Cesar Chavez had fought at 175, then came down to 168. Decided to do it at catch weight of 165. And we was expecting fireworks, but Julio Cesar Chavez didn't hold up his end of the game. He came in there and, you know, he was weight drained or whatever. And he didn't really perform. But here's the thing. You got to understand, Canelo also need that fight to acclimatize to 160. He never fought at 160. That would have been his that would be the weight class above. So he had to acclimatize himself, get some strength to be able to face Gennady Golovkin. So y'all say it took him 2 years. Well, motherfucker, he beat Miguel Cotto in November of 2015. And he fought Gennady Golovkin in September of 2017. It took him 2 years to grow into the weight. Just like how Terrence Crawford, it took him 2 years to grow into the weight to face Canelo. I mean, this ain't no rocket science. You got to do it right. So he fought Triple G. They gave him a draw, but he outboxed his ass, in my opinion. And he still looked like the smaller fighter. And the fact that Triple G, y'all say he's this monster and all this shit. But this monster couldn't even touch Canelo. He couldn't even get to him. He'd get counterpunched by Canelo all night long. He couldn't land a single heavy shot on Canelo. I don't even understand why y'all even think that Triple G won that fight. Y'all wanted Canelo to get knocked out. That didn't happen. Y'all wanted the white hope to do something, because I know there's a lot of racism out here. And then all these black bandwagoners, these Uncles Toms, you know, siding with Triple G. Canelo outboxed that motherfucker. Easy work. Easy work. I light him up in the final round, in the 12th round. Outbox that motherfucker. Counterpunching his ass all the time, walking him into all kinds of traps. Okay? Fucking Canelo, man. He looked like Mayweather in there. Yeah, he was on the back foot most of the fight, but the point is, he beat Triple G's ass. Y'all could say whatever you want. The only thing I disagree with is GGG won the first. Fuck out of here. How? How did he win the first fight, bro? How did he win the first fight? What did he do? There wasn't even a mark on Canelo's face. Triple G's face was looking all red and shit, like puffy at the end of the fight, because Canelo was tattooing his ass up and down the ring, walking him into the shots. Yes, again, I told you, Canelo's foot cardio ain't what it is. So he's sporadic. What I mean by that is, you know, he would do sporadic things, quick bursts of stuff, and then he's done. But what was Triple G doing that whole night? Nothing. Touching Canelo's forehead. Letting Canelo find range. The only thing that Junior was the first half, Canelo began to fight timidly. He didn't begin no fight timidly. He dominated in the first half of the fight. One of the last 2 rounds, he got jobbed. Man, Triple G ain't worth shit when it comes to Canelo. There's 2 different bars and 2 different classes of fighters. That's why he beat him the second time, because he was pushing him back more. In the first fight, he fought out the back foot the entire fight. Right? I think he came forward, in the 11th and 12th round. I think Triple G beat his ass in the 9th round. He beat him up in the 9th round, but that was about it. All right? Triple G didn't do shit. He's supposedly this fucking monster, and Canelo just outboxed him. He ran rings around his ass. He made him look like a fool. He did the Mayweather thing on him. He was making him look stupid in there. Stupid. Triple G ain't worth shit. Right? Talking about Triple G's a monster. Well, if he's a monster, why didn't he knock out Canelo? He a monster, right? Supposed to knock him out. Couldn't even touch him. Oh, come on, man. Y'all tripping, man. Y'all tripping. That Triple G, I'm talking about Triple G was robbed. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Triple G was robbed. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. That's why y'all hate Canelo. Y'all thought he got favor for the Triple G fight. Go and watch the fucking Triple G fight. Go watch it. Go watch that shit. And saying how what was the judge's name that scored that fight? That something was wrong with her. What she was watching? She was watching boxing. He boxed rings around Triple G's ass. He boxed rings around Triple G's ass, and he was kind of punching him like if he sunned that motherfucker. Sebastian Trey said, "Watch it 100 times." Well, you better fix your eyes because you're biased as fuck. I'm serious, man. There's no way Triple G won that fight. Canelo was robbed. That fight wasn't supposed to be a draw. Canelo was supposed to be that motherfucker. I don't know what y'all was watching. On what fucking plane y'all was watching it. But there's no way in fucking hell Triple G won that fight. No way in hell he won that fight. The second fight, he popped for illegal supplements. Nah, before the fight, they found something in his tainted meat or some shit like that. I can't say that Canelo didn't use something before the second fight. You know what I'm saying? And he got suspended for it, and then they came back and they wanted to repeal shit and stuff. I wasn't cool with that. But what I could say is that I forget what the woman's name is. Adelaide Bird. Adelaide Bird was on no Canelo sheet. What the fuck you talking about, bro? Bro, I scored that fight 9-3 for Canelo. 9-3. What the fuck you talking about? I don't know what fight y'all was watching. I don't know what fight y'all was watching. Triple G hits like bricks. The only wrong where Triple G actually tagged up Canelo and got him in trouble was round 9. Canelo came back in round 10, 11, and 12. I remember in round 12, Canelo hit Triple G with a 12-piece. He couldn't miss nothing. Triple G's head was like a nugget. He hit him with a 12 fucking piece in the 12th round. The fuck y'all talking about? A 12-piece on Triple G ass. The man was a fucking punching bag. What the fuck are y'all talking about? What the fuck are y'all talking about? What boxing match are you talking about? Because you make it sound like you didn't watch the fight. And if you watched that fight 100 times and you're telling me that Triple G somehow won that fight, then you're biased as fuck. Biased as fuck. You gotta, because you just ignore boxing and you talk. I don't know what the fuck you was watching. I'll tell anybody. Paulie, anybody. What the fuck were you watching? Maybe you were anticipating Triple G knocking him out. Triple G landed very little power shots. The only thing Triple G was landing consistently in that fight was a touch jab to Canelo's forehead. And Canelo allowed him to do that. That is not effective because when he followed up with any other shot, including a power jab, Canelo got out of the way of those shots. A touch jab is to find range. And let me tell you how smart Canelo is. This is what y'all don't respect this motherfucker. This motherfucker is a bad motherfucker. Canelo's a bad motherfucker. That's what y'all don't understand. Canelo let Triple G touch his forehead instead of him popping his jab to Triple G. Triple G was finding range for Canelo. Y'all ain't ready for this. So instead of Canelo risking himself to find that range, he made Triple G find that range for him. Y'all don't even understand boxing, man. Y'all don't understand how cerebral this game is. Remember when Manny Pacquiao was punching at his forehead? He was telling Floyd, hit me here, hit me here. Why do you think Pacquiao was doing that? He not only was he baiting Floyd into throwing a jab to find range, and he would pull back so that Floyd would overreach and then he would counter him, but Pacquiao was also gauging range by Floyd throwing his jab at him. He said, oh, you like to throw the jab, ain't? Okay. Because Pacquiao's good at countering jabs himself. You understand? Y'all, that's why Canelo was countering Triple G all night. Because Triple G was giving Canelo the range. Canelo, this is how far away you are. Okay, cool. y'all, man. Triple G. There's a reason Canelo beat Triple G twice. It wasn't because Triple G was faded. Triple G was knocking out guys all the time. The fight before he faced Canelo, he would knock out a guy. That wasn't the reason. The reason was Canelo knows what that style brings to the table. Canelo was looking at Triple G like, all right, the first fight that Canelo fought Triple G with, he knew he could beat Triple G after that fight. And he continuously beat Triple G from then on in. Because it wasn't a challenge for him anymore. Y'all said Danny Jacobs would beat Canelo's ass. And down the stretch, Danny Jacobs was doing better. Had he started earlier, but Danny Jacobs said it. I couldn't find his rhythm. Right? Couldn't find his rhythm. Canelo's a tricky dude, too. He got tricky things he do in there. Okay? He learned things from Floyd, no doubt about that. You know, he learned how to have composure, pace himself, set traps for people, you know, and clever little shit he do. In every single fight, he always do something clever and different. If you pay attention, he's a very clever fighter. He just has limitations. If he had the kind of foot cardio that Floyd and Terrence Crawford had, he'd dominate boxing. He wouldn't lose any fight. He'd dominate boxing. His fundamental flaw is his feet. That's it. He is, in my opinion, the Mexican James Toney of boxing. James Toney had the same fundamental problem. He don't move light on his feet. He don't move all around the ring. He'll give you pivots. He was brilliant on the inside. He couldn't touch him on the inside. But because he didn't move his feet, he couldn't respect distance like he needed to. And people could catch him with jabs, you know, leaping left hooks like Roy did, set him up for that. Hell of a fighter, though, James Toney. Hell of a fighter. You know, Mike McCallum could outbox him, get a draw, because he could step around him. You know, guys like that, you can step around them. That's how you beat them. And you don't have to do this big, long, you know, set of footwork. It's inches. As Terrence Crawford said, it's inches. You don't have to, you can step back off an angle and then counter. You don't have to do all this big set of moving, this excessive movement that Erislandy Lara did to beat the guy. You understand? It's a game of inches. And if you watch at Floyd, how he dealt with Canelo, and even how he dealt with Pacquiao, it's a game of inches. Pacquiao's fast, right? Floyd proved to be quicker than Pacquiao. Not necessarily faster than him, but quicker than him. He catch Pacquiao in the offbeat all the time. You know? And he didn't have to do a whole lot. He made it look easy because he didn't have to do a whole lot to beat Pacquiao. You know, Pacquiao can't get past level 1. So I'm gonna stay at level 1. When he get past level 1, I'll go to level 2 on him. You know, that was what Floyd was doing. He's just doing just enough to keep Pacquiao off balance, just enough, you know, to make him run into shit. And he didn't bother to knock him out and all of that. He wasn't trying to push for a knockout or anything like that. That's the thing about Floyd. He was so skilled, he didn't have to knock out nobody to win a fight. If you press him, he'll knock your fucking ass out. He'll knock you out. You know? Yeah, Canelo, man. Canelo's a different dude, man. He a different dude. He a special fighter. Floyd saw it from way, way back when. He knew Oscar had a special fighter. Right? And Canelo understands boxing very, 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 very well. So the people who are high off of Canelo, you should be. Right? But you have to know why. This motherfucker is a problem. Canelo always been a problem. The problem with Canelo is he meet a guy who can move around the ring a certain way. He's going to have difficulty with it. Julio Cesar Chavez had difficulty with it. Oscar De La Hoya had difficulty with it. A lot of Mexican fighters who are aggressive and they have to walk down fighters, they're going to have difficulty with a guy that's a mover. In boxing, one of the most difficult guys in boxing is a guy that moves. A slick boxer is very difficult. Okay? A slick boxer is always going to be difficult. Okay? That's just what it is. Right? And Canelo's more of a boxer. He's not really a brawler. He'll mix with you. He'll trade shots and shit, but it's off of boxing principle. He's more of a boxer. So he wouldn't relentlessly chase you down. You know, like even Triple G. Triple G is very systematic in how he walks down guys, right? That's why you guys like Triple G, because he's very systematic in how he goes about doing things, right? And he is systematic in how he pushes you back. Danny Jacobs had a hell of a fight with Triple G. Hell of a fight. If he didn't get dropped, Danny Jacobs would have been right there with Triple G. He might have gotten it. Well, I don't know if he would have got the decision, but he'd have been right there because Derevyanchenko got dropped too. And he came back and I think Derevyanchenko beat Triple G worse than anybody ever beat him. Triple G face was all swollen and shit. Derevyanchenko really put a number on him. Derevyanchenko is a good fighter too. Unfortunately, he never got the shots that he really needed to get to become world champion. But that dude should have been world champion. He's a hell of a fighter, right? Derevyanchenko has beautiful footwork. He goes around you. He circles you. You know what I'm saying? He'll fight you at all kinds of different angles. That's what makes Derevyanchenko so great. He's kind of like a Lomachenko, but a right-handed Lomachenko. You know what I mean? He's kind of like Usyk too. But Usyk's got more nuance to him. Bivol has more nuance to him. You know what I'm saying? That Danny Jacobs fight was a good fight, man. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, y'all can say what y'all want about Canelo. He's a hell of a fighter. And the people trying to trash him, there's no fucking way you could trash him. Because when you look at the world champions he beat, the Hall of Famers that he beat, you could say what you want. The facts are there. You know, you could say whatever you want. The facts are there. Canelo was this era's greatest Mexican fighter, 1. 2, he was this era's cash cow. And 3, he was the face of boxing. He was carrying boxing for a very long time. And a lot of people wanted to deny that. They tried to push Tyson Fury ahead of him. Where's Tyson Fury now? We don't hear about Tyson Fury. He ain't the face of boxing no more. Canelo was, until Crawford beat him, and Crawford's taking the torch. And Canelo's consistently the cash cow. Every Canelo fight, huge sums of money paid to him to make these big fights, because he's a cash cow of boxing. And now we got another cash cow of boxing, Terrence Bud Crawford. And the next, if he fights the next 2 fights, hopefully he does, and hopefully he becomes either undisputed down below, or he fights some of the guys like, you know, Demetrius Andrade, or maybe Jamal Charlo, or who's undefeated, by the way. Or he may fight Caleb Plant at 168. Maybe he stays at 168. Or maybe Benavidez comes down to 168. Who knows? Money talks, bullshit walks. Comes down to 168, fights Crawford. Or maybe they fight at a catch weight, 173 or something like that, 172 or something like that. And, you know, Crawford fights Benavidez, which would be a hell of a fucking fight. That would be a huge fight for Benavidez and a huge fight for Terrence Crawford. Who knows what the future holds? You know what I'm saying? We never know. The point is, anyway, at the end of the day, Terrence Crawford's a cash cow. Benavidez is going to get his biggest payday if he fights Terrence Crawford. Biggest payday of his career. You know? No shame in losing to Terrence Crawford. I know Terrence Crawford will beat Benavidez no matter what Benavidez thinks. He's going to get beat. But even though he's young and everything, your ass going to get beat. And then they're going to make the excuses, oh, Benavidez was too young. You know, if Benavidez is a champion right now, but he's not the champion, right? Bivol is the champion. He's undisputed, right? So if Benavidez was to face Terrence Crawford next, he is a champion. He's not the champion. His exciting style with Terrence Crawford's exciting style will produce a very exciting fight. You know what I'm saying? And yes, Benavidez may come in there 190 something pounds, but at the end of the day, or even 200 pounds, but at the end of the day, I know Terrence Crawford could outbox that motherfucker. I know Terrence Crawford could beat him. It don't matter who you put in front of Terrence Crawford. I'm gonna pick Terrence Crawford any day of the week. I know it, because I know he gonna come prepared. I know he'll train his ass off to make sure that he wins that fight. You know, and David Benavidez a hell of a fighter, but I seen Dan Benavidez on his ass. I seen what's the guy's name? The Mayweather Promotions fighter. I seen him put him on his ass. You know? So, and I've seen David Benavidez have to handle guys who he had to fight backwards fighting. And I'm not saying that David Benavidez is not a hell of a fighter. I'm not saying that David Benavidez, can't win that fight. I'm just picking Crawford. I don't care what. I'm picking Crawford. And David Benavidez like to trade. I know he's better than his older brother, but I'm picking Terrence Crawford. End of story. That would be a great catch line. He's coming in to avenge the loss his younger brother had to Terrence Crawford. So it'll be a hell of a fight. I would love to see that. Crawford would run circles around Benavidez. Yeah, because he's a flat-footed fighter like Canelo. That's right. Angles, baby. Angles. You got it. You got it. You know what it is. You one of them that know boxing, man. You know what it is. You know what it is. You know what I'm saying? All right, yeah. So I just wanted to say that Canelo, a hell of a fighter, man. He can't take nothing away. His legacy's already cemented. This man has fought how many pound for pound number one fighters, man? Let's look. There's Gennady Golovkin, that's one. Floyd Mayweather, that's two. Terrence Crawford, that's three. Right? And then, in terms of the man at the division, the lineal champion at the division, he fought Callum Smith, right? That's one. That was at 168. He fought Dimitri Bivol. That's two, right? He also fought Floyd Mayweather. That's three. He fought Erislandy Lara. That's four. Man, get the fuck out of here, man, people. Seriously. Dude fought the number one fighter in every division. Niga Cotto, that's five. He was a lineal champion. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Canelo's resume just speaks for itself, okay? The man has fought the man of the division over and over and over again. He lost to some. He won to some. And y'all had to put some respect on that man's name, man. You got to put some respect on that man's name, right? When you fighting the number one pound for pound fighter, three times he fought the number one pound for pound fighter. In Floyd Mayweather, Gennady Golovkin, and Terrence Crawford. Man, come on now. Which fighter you know in this era has done that? Who? Come on, man. Y'all have to have some respect for Canelo, man. Y'all disrespecting this man. I don't like that. This man did everything. He even did what you wanted, the fans. You wanted to see the fight with Crawford. He didn't want to fight with Crawford. You wanted to fight with Crawford. He did it for you. He keep on producing things for you time and time and time again. And every now and then he want to fight for himself. Give me a fight for myself, right? Y'all call it a stay busy fight. Better than what Chavez was doing up in Mexico with the club fighters. He'd fight a guy 0-4. You know what I'm saying? No wins, 4 losses. Chavez go up in there and sharpen up his skills for the Mexican people, get him riled up, knock out some club fighter. Man, come on, no, get the fuck out of here, man. Y'all need to have some respect for Canelo. I would even say Canelo's resume, I got to be careful how I say this. Because Julio Cesar Chavez fought some killers. He fought some killers. So I got to be careful what I say. But I would say this, and Chavez had like 100 and something fights. Not that matters. It's just the killers that I'm talking about, But actually, you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to put it down on the record. Y'all could debate this. This is debatable. I think Canelo's resume is better than Julio Cesar Chavez's resume. I think so. And y'all going, especially Mexican fans, y'all going to say sacrilege. And I hear you on that. I hear you. Because Chavez did beat some killers. And he fought some killers, too. You know what I'm saying? And he did even fight Whitaker, right? He fought Costa Zoo, Pernell Whitaker, Oscar De La Hoya, right? These are the guys that kind of bettered him. Then he fought, Roger Mayweather. I mean, you name it. Tiger, what's his name? Tiger, what? Actually, I could go check it out. He fought, he fought a lot of really good people, man. In the lightweight division, especially. Then he went up to, I think, super lightweight, and he did his thing as well. So, Julio Cesar Chavez, and then a super featherweight as well. So, Julio Cesar Chavez was a different beast. He used to fight a lot of people. He fought a lot of great names, right? But I still think, let me tell you why I said Canelo kind of trumps Chavez, even in his losses. Canelo fought Bivol, Crawford, Mayweather, Triple G, Cotto, Mosley. Every one of those guys we just mentioned, either in the Boxing Hall of Fame or going into the Boxing Hall of Fame, right? Every one of those guys are straight killers, right? What is Chavez's best wins? What is Chavez's best fights? What is Chavez? Who are the best people that Chavez beat or fought? You got Whitaker. You got Oscar. Right? You got Hall of Famer, the Puerto Rican guy. I forgot what his name is. You know what? Let me just find it. Because Chavez fought a lot of really good fighters, man. Period. A lot of really good fighters. His resume here. Right? Okay, let's skip 40. You got to go like 40-something fights in to start seeing really good stuff. You know what I mean? Roger Mayweather. That was his first really good win. Oh, you had Ruben Castillo as well. That was a former world champion. Rocky Lockridge. This motherfucker fought Rocky Lockridge. Juan Laporte. Edwin Rosario. Rafael Limon. Jose Luis Ramirez. Fought Roger Mayweather again. Mildred Taylor in the famous fight in which he stopped him. He also fought Hector Camacho, Greg Hogan, and then Pernell Whitaker, Frankie Randall. We got to mention Frankie Randall because he beat his ass. He fought Tony the Tiger Lopez. That's the guy I was thinking of. Tony the Tiger Lopez. He also fought Oscar De La Hoya, Joey Camacho, Miguel Angel Gonzalez, really good fighter. Oscar De La Hoya again. Costa fucking Zoo. I think that's about it. He even fought Ivan Robinson, a guy who fought Arturo Gatti and beat Arturo Gatti twice. Right? So I mean, this motherfucker fought some phenomenal. He lost, but he also won. Like Costa Zoo is a Hall of Famer. Oscar De La Hoya is a Hall of Famer. Who else we got here? That's two. Mildred Taylor's a Hall of Famer. I think is Mildred Taylor in the Hall of Fame? He better be in the Hall of Fame. He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame if he ain't in the Hall of Fame. Frankie Randall was a good fighter. So that's three. Pernell Whitaker's a Hall of Famer. That's four. Hector Camacho is a Hall of Famer. That's five. Jose Luis Ramirez is going. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see. Five. Yeah, five. Rocky Lockridge gave him a good fight, y'all. He gave him a good fight. He pulled it out in the end, but Rocky Lockridge was in his ass. He had a fight on the back foot against Rocky. Rocky was a badass fighter, man. I think that's about it. I don't know if Roger Mayweather will go into the Boxing Hall of Fame. We'll see. I don't know. So that it's possible he fought 6 Hall of Famers, let's just say. About 6. And let me show you something about Canelo. Canelo's a bad motherfucker, man. He's a bad motherfucker. I'm not gonna lie, man. He a bad motherfucker. Terrence Crawford going into Boxing Hall of Fame. Right? Jermell Charlo, he might go into the Boxing Hall of Fame for being undisputed. So we're gonna see. I don't know. But, you know, Mel might go into the Boxing Hall of Fame too. Roger definitely. Okay, there's a six Hall of Famers, right? 6 Hall of Famers. All right, cool. Yeah. So we got what we say? Crawford. We got Crawford. Probably Mel. We'll see. For sure, Gennady Golovkin. That's 2. Bivol is definitely going in there. That's 3. Cotto's already there. That's 4. Mayweather, that's 5. Mosley, that's 6. So Julio Cesar Chavez has 6. Canelo has 6. That's crazy. And like I said, Charlo may go in there because he's undisputed at 154, right? So he may be another Hall of Famer. So you're looking at 7 Hall of Famers this motherfucker fought. He didn't beat all of them. You know. So I'm just saying, man, you look at Canelo, you look at Chavez, you know. I'm just saying, Chavez got knocked out by Costa Zoo. You know, he got knocked out by Oscar De La Hoya. Canelo's never been knocked out. Canelo's a Mexican fighter with fucking defense. You know what I'm saying? He got fucking defense. That's the difference. How and Mosley, Floyd, Cotto, etc. when he fought them. I mean, how old was Canelo when Crawford fought him? What were you really trying to say? It's about their status, where they were in boxing. Mosley was at the end of his game. Let's be real. Mosley, we're not going to talk about Mosley. But you look at Floyd. Floyd was at the top of his game. Floyd was old, but Floyd was at the top of his game. He was pound for pound the number 1 fighter in the world. When Cotto was the lineal champion at middleweight. You know what I mean? You can't fault these guys, man. These guys was doing their shit. They was on their shit. Cotto beat Sergio Martinez. Right? Triple G. You saying Triple G was old? Triple G was the number 1 fucking middleweight in the world and number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world when Canelo fought him. Like, are y'all even registering what I'm saying? Like, are you registering what I'm saying? This motherfucker fought the very best fighters you could ever face. Crawford was pound for pound number 1 when Canelo faced him. Right? Yeah, Crawford is 37 years of age. Most of these guys they're not in their primes when Canelo faces them. You could critique that, but you cannot critique their status in the world at the time. You see what I'm saying? You can't critique their status in the world at the time. And remember, he didn't beat all of them. He didn't beat Floyd. He didn't beat Crawford. Right? Who was the best super lightweight? Who was the best super welterweight in the world after Canelo got beaten by Floyd? It was Lara. And this motherfucker stepped up to the plate and fought Lara. Come on, man. Come on, you got to give this man his props, man. Y'all not giving Canelo his props. And remember, he has a disadvantage. Guys who are movers, he has to cut down that distance, find them, and get to them. And he got to Lara. He got to him. You got to respect that, man. You got to respect that. This dog kept on giving you the fights you wanted to see. He just wanted to make sure he was ready for the fight. He gave you the Triple G fight. He gave you it 3 times. 3 times. And y'all motherfuckers disrespect this man to this day. You disrespect him. He gave you the 3 fights. He gave you what he wanted to see. He gave you the Crawford fight. He didn't want to face no Crawford. He thought it was a lose-lose. Turki Al-Sheikh made it worth his while, so he didn't lose. He gained. Big money. Was he devastated that he lost that fight? Fuck yeah. But you can't say he did not face Terrence Crawford. You can't say he didn't face Triple G. You can't say that. You could say he didn't face Demetrius Andrade. You could say he didn't face, you can't even say he didn't face Charlo, Mel. That was the guy he was supposed to face at 154. You can't say he didn't face Mel. He faced Mel. Mel just wasn't ready. Mel just wasn't ready. It's not that Mel's not a good fighter. He just wasn't ready. His body wasn't ready for that weight class. That's all that happened there. And I thought Mel was going to beat Canelo. I thought so. I really did. And I learned the lesson the hard way. Even with Caleb Plant, I thought Caleb Plant would beat Canelo because I thought the blueprint was out there to beat him. What I didn't realize is it takes more than that to beat Canelo. It's not just, okay, so you can get the angles on him. No, you got to do that for 12 rounds. And you got to make sure he don't catch up to you like that. You got to protect your body properly. When Mel started to go on the offensive, that's when Canelo dropped him. And that's when he realized, shit. Mel came out of there saying this man hit like a fucking truck. Like he punched hard. That's because he wasn't ready for that. Crawford prepared his body for that. So he didn't feel it the same way. And plus, he had Canelo kind of off balance as well. You know what I'm saying? So Canelo couldn't find him, so he couldn't really put the punches down that he really wanted to put on him. I mean, I don't know how to explain to you guys how good Canelo is. Canelo ain't no chump, y'all. Canelo ain't no chump. Mel got dog walked. Well, you see, he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for that. He wasn't ready for that shit. He didn't understand what it took to get to 168, be prepared to take the shots that Canelo could deliver. Ask Billy Joe Saunders, who got his eye orbital destroyed, how easy it is to beat Canelo. It ain't easy to beat Canelo. And Billy Joe Saunders was undefeated. He was beating everybody. It ain't easy to beat Canelo. Y'all saw Demetrius Andrade face David Benavidez. He wasn't ready for David Benavidez. And it had nothing to do with skill. It had to do with his body. He moved up from 160 to 168, and his body wasn't ready for David Benavidez. He got chopped down. That's why y'all need to respect Canelo for getting his body ready for Triple G fight. If he just jumped up there and faced Triple G, he'd have gotten stopped. Period. He wasn't ready. His body wasn't ready. And that's what y'all need to respect, man. Y'all need to respect these fighters, man. Y'all be like, you ducking and dodging. No, Canelo was willing to face Triple G. He wanted to face Triple G. He just knew his body wasn't ready. He wasn't a 160-pounder. He wanted to get his body right. That's why he fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. First, he fought Liam Smith to prove I'm a 154-pounder. And then he went up to 165 to prepare his body to deal with the power and the size of a Triple G. And that's what y'all did. Y'all don't respect fighters, man. Y'all don't respect what they're trying to give you the fight. You think Canelo didn't want to give you that fight? He wanted to give you that fight. But y'all trash him because y'all feel, oh, he got the decision over Lara. Oh, he got the decision over Trout. Because they black fighters and they slick back fighters, so Canelo can't beat them. He dropped Trout's ass. Y'all forget that? You forgot he put Trout down? It was kind of a close fight until he dropped Trout. Then after that, Canelo was like making Trout miss and making him pay. That's what he was doing. Hey, man, people hate Canelo because he got a contract with Televisa before he had proved himself. It's Mexican drama. The point I'm making is Canelo is a fucking phenomenal fighter. That's the truth. And Floyd saw it from early. Oscar picked out Canelo because Canelo, this kid, he's a teenager. He's like 15, 16 years of age, beating grown-ass men. And I mean stopping grown-ass men too with his boxing skill because he's more a boxer than anything else. Canelo he ain't this one-punch hitter quitter. He's a boxer. He come from boxing. That's why he don't pressure fight like a typical Mexican. He don't pressure fight like a typical Mexican. He walk you down like a boxer. He a boxer. And that's what a lot of people just don't get. Julio Cesar Chavez, he had a more aggressive style because he was a swarmer. He was a swarmer boxer. He was a swarmer. He had boxing skill, But he swarm you, and he lead with either hand, and it's coming at you. He ain't going. Canelo, he put psychological pressure on you. He say he will throw his first jab, he will touch you, and then after that, he ain't throwing no punches. He just coming at you, right? He putting that pressure on you. He trying to break you down mentally. He not gonna swarm you and throw 100 million different punches. Nah, he not gonna do that. Chavez would do that. Canelo wouldn't do that. You got to understand the difference between them. Canelo's more of a boxer. He's not a swarmer. He's not a bang. He's not a brawler. He will bang with you, but he'll bang with you under the rules of boxing. He'll counterpunch you. You know, they're different fighters. Canelo's more of a Sugar Ray Robinson kind of fighter than he is, say, what's his name? The great Mexican fighter. What's his name? I can't remember his name right now. I'm not talking about Julio Cesar Chavez. Right? He's cut more from that cloth. You know, if you look at even the people who came up in his camp, like I forgot what his name is, who became world champion as well. The quality boxers. They're boxers first and then they're fighters next. You know, and that's Canelo. And that's what y'all don't understand. Canelo, Cinnamon, man, he's a walking contradiction in the sense that he built like a Mexican. You know what I'm saying? He built like a tank. You know, when you see him running his combos, he looked like a Mexican because he's throwing combinations and he's just looking fucking Mexican. But if you watch it, how he systematically breaks down fighters and comes at them, he fights more like a boxer. His defense is like James Toney's, not James Toney, but he can roll punches either way. You know, he can ride punches. He's slick with it. You know what I'm saying? He has slickness as well. So this is the thing that makes Canelo this special hybrid of a Mexican fighter you've never seen before. That's why he has such a big following, you know, because he's not your typical Mexican fighter. He's got a little bit of Chavez in him. He got a little bit of what you call him? Why can't I not remember his name right now? Salvador Sanchez in him. He got a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? He got a little bit of whatever his name is. I can't remember his name right now. The undefeated Mexican fighter. He got a little bit of all of them. You know what I'm saying? And of course, his trainers and his coaches, they cut from that cloth. That's why Canelo's kind of old school in that respect, you know. So when Terence Crawford got the honor to face Canelo, if you notice, Terence Crawford he speaks about Canelo with respect. Even though he might be a boxer puncher, Crawford outsmarted him so much that it's disappointed he never adjusted to Crawford. He did. He tried different things. He made adjustments. Canelo made different adjustments, just like Crawford know all them adjustments. That's the problem. You know, he did. Man, I need to break down that fight for you guys because you guys don't know what y'all saw. Yeah, he did make adjustments, man. Anyways, man, I spent a lot of time on this. I spent 2 hours, 38 minutes, and 49 seconds on this stuff. You guys smash the like button. WattUNeed be giving y'all, you know, some interesting information that y'all can now take and have your debates and discussions. Sebastian Tade says, no, please see the footwork. He did adjust his southpaw stance. That's not the problem. Crawford was exchanging with him, catching certain shots, and coming back with stuff. Crawford was just too good. You know, and as the fight was evolving, Crawford was separating himself more and more from Canelo, you know. It's a great fight, man. Great fight. But in the end, I just want to let people know Terence Crawford is the cash cow of boxing. Canelo's still always going to rake in cash because he has a following. People are going to still respect Canelo. He was a true champion. He acknowledged things like a true champion. A little salty about the Floyd Mayweather fight, so he kind of disrespected Floyd a little bit. But at the end of the day, he behaved like a true champion. He accepted his defeat. And I hope to see him again, hopefully in 2 more fights or 3 more fights, whatever his deal is, finish that deal off, get paid off, and right off into the sunset, man. A legend. Going to go down, first ballot Hall of Famer, going in there for sure. You know, great fighter. I don't know if he wants to avenge his loss to Bivol. That could be another thing on the cards. Maybe another a revenge fight with Bivol at 175. Bivol's, of course, the undisputed champion there. Maybe Canelo wants to get the undisputed championship maybe at 175. Who knows? You know, there's things out there that Canelo can do to redeem that loss that he had against Terrence Crawford. You know, there's different things he could do. So it's up to him. If he wants to retire, he could do that. But I think he should fight on. I think he has a lot in the tank still left. It's up to him. Financially, he's good. You know, he's good financially. I think the thing that for him is to decide what other two fights he wants to have. It frees him up to face Demetrius Andrade even, and prove that he is, you know, he's on that level. Maybe he could beat a Demetrius Andrade. You know, he beat Caleb Plant, and I didn't think he was going to beat Caleb Plant. He beat Caleb Plant. Maybe he could beat a Demetrius Andrade. Who knows? Demetrius Andrade is also a southpaw, so that would be a good fight. And basically that's it, because the people who they say he ducked was Jamel Charlo, who he fought and he beat, right? Mal don't look like he want that smoke. Otherwise, he would have faced Canelo a long time ago. He had the opportunities to do so. The only guy of Canelo's era he didn't face was Demetrius Andrade and David Benavidez. Those are the only two remaining guys that Canelo did not face. He faced everybody else. Everybody else. You know what I mean? So it's up to Canelo if he might want to say, you know what, let me finish off my career by fighting Demetrius Andrade. Let me have that fight with David Benavidez. You know? And that's that. You know, David Benavidez never got his shot at Canelo. So there are those two fights out there that would please the fans, I think. The thing about it is, I would like to say to people, you know, there ain't nobody else that Canelo ducked and dodged. You know, y'all could say, okay, he kind of ducked and dodged the Charlo. But he fought him. So you can't say that no more. And it wasn't the big Charlo. It was the little Charlo that he was supposed to face. And he finally got the fight with the little Charlo, right? So there ain't nobody else left to face except for David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade. That's it. And if that's all y'all got on Canelo, then y'all is real fuckers. Y'all are clowns, you know? Because this guy fought everybody. Everybody he was supposed to face except for them two guys. He fought everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And when he was much younger, he was much more hungrier. He was looking for the biggest and the best fights. Now, you know, he's probably getting comfortable. RJ Jenkins says, what's up, bro? What's up, man? Big Charlo. Those judges tried to rob Crawford. They only had Bud winning 2 rounds. I know. The Canelo effect, the cash cow effect. Actually, 2 of the judges were like that. I think that Steve Weisfield, I think, is the guy that got it more correct. 8-4. I had it 9-3. I didn't have it 8-4. I had it 9-3. But if you give it 8-4, no problem. It's a comprehensive win. It's not no close fight. It wasn't close like that. I think Crawford won most of the rounds. But having said all of that, you cannot take anything away from Canelo. You can't take anything away from his accomplishments, you know, how he carried the sport. You can't take nothing away from this guy. And, you know, I don't hear nobody taking anything away from Canelo. Because if you so hate Canelo that you have to do that, then it means you're going to take away something from Bud as well. Bud beat a really great fighter. One of the greatest fighters of our era. Bud's the next greatest fighter of our era. It's Bud, Canelo, and then you got the younger guys like Usyk and Naoya Inoue and Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis and, you know, you got the younger guys. You know, for the people pushing for Jerome Boots Ennis to face Terrence Crawford, jump up to 160 or jump up to 168. Jump up to 160 or 168. But if you ain't willing to do that, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Because Terrence Crawford jumped up to 168 from welterweight. All right? Canelo jumped up to 175 from 160. So if you're not willing to do that shit because you're not confident in your skills, shut the fuck up. Now, let's not hear nothing about that. We don't want to hear no Bud versus nothing. So that's what I got for you guys. I am what you need. You've been watching my channel. I hope you liked what you're seeing. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna catch you guys later. I really cooked on this one. 246. God damn. 2 hours 40.